Also tonight, brought to you by some
Absolute, or what is that one?
vanilla vodka.
Okay. Jackson Triggs helped me out. Okanagan Estate Wines.
So
Anyway.
I've already had one of these cups that's about as big as my head.
hmm
This is the second one, right to the top, and
Yeah.
I'm already feeling pretty tipsy.
Welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast. Video edition. It's the first time this has ever happened.
That's
Um,
right. If you're listening to it on audio, you should have been there live. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll find a way to maybe upload the video.
Okay.
Why
Or
not,
maybe
right?
it's on our Twitch page or something. Check that. If it's not there, we apologize, but you missed an historic occasion.
I can guarantee you it's not, because I have videos turned off so people can't go back
Oh. So
unless
there's
I enable them.
okay.
Yeah.
Um
You came back from PAX. You were gone.
Yeah, I was gone for about a week. We went down to Seattle.
Sean and I talked last week.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you guys still did a podcast? And
Yeah,
that was, okay. I didn't know that. I wasn't really keeping tabs on stuff.
sure.
Um, yeah, yeah. There was a PAX. There was a Penny Arcade Expo. It was
The
very
Penny
popular.
Arcade Expo Prime,
Yeah,
the Prime one.
Um, and yeah, I don't know how to really sum up everything other than like something was weird in the air.
Awesome.
No.
Okay.
Um,
Was it because I wasn't there? You can tell me the truth.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
that w- honestly, like some of it might have just been like it wasn't my posse that usually goes wasn't there at all, so it was just
Well, we
like
couldn't be because
Yeah.
basically all of us except for John were not able to get tickets. Actually,
Right.
that's not true. I was able to get tickets about a month ago, but at that point I hadn't made any plans, so I was just like, no, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, like I ran into John a couple times, but that was the only echo of previous years' experience, really. Yeah, like it was kind of, it was a different tone to the trip. Like it was mostly like me and Brittany hanging around, and then periodically, like once we ran into her friends who we brought with us. Like it was four people, two couples. Um, but generally speaking, it was kind of just almost a flashback to like 2008 when I was walking around the show alone. And in 2008, it was magical because I'd never been to anything like that before.
Sure.
But in 2013, it was like not the same. And I don't think that's necessarily just because, like I've changed. I think it's like parts of it are the nature of small development and video games and stuff has kind of changed a bit. And I'm going to point my finger directly at like Kickstarter as maybe one of the reasons this year was really weird.
Sure.
Because it's just like no one wants a publishing deal anymore. Everyone wants to be Notch, essentially. Everyone wants to be the next big hit. Everyone wants to self-publish their game. And as a result, like everyone is kind of selling you something. And
Including the indie devs now.
yeah, like the indie devs are kind of grossing me out in a way they didn't before because it's just like, hey man, go support my thing. It's just like I don't even know much about your thing. Like I've played a demo, it seems kind of okay, but I don't have nearly enough information to go on for like this kind of investment. Like I don't know, like it was like weird amount of pressure from what used to be just like, hey, walk around and play video games. Now it's like, hey man, if you want any of these games to exist, you better open up your wallet. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, who are you? How experienced are you? Is this even worth my time? Like, I don't know. It was a weird show. And yeah, like, and then so many of the panels seem to be almost like, promotional stuff, or like Peter Molyneux opened the show and like his thing was basically like, hey guys, check out my new video game. Like, it's Goddess, you can pre-order it. You can start playing it in September in like an early access alpha thing, and it's just like, okay. Wait, who's? I'm like trying to read the chat if it's like because we're wearing weird things we're children or if these opinions are bad.
Oh no, it's because they're talking about who's the oldest and who's the youngest. It has nothing to do with us right now.
Okay,
As
okay. 'Cause, like,
narcissistic as I know you can get, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I felt kind of like a cynical dick when I was there, but it was severely impacting my like joy levels over the course of the show. Like I'd walk out of a panel just kind of bummed out. Like
Mm.
Rise of the Indies was a panel there, and they
Haven't
had
they
like
risen?
yeah. I
Let's
think
just get that out there, right? Like indie
Yeah.
games, everybody recognizes them now for being like just kind of better in the sense that you can buy them for cheaper and they do weird, neat things.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like they've risen. That's
No,
over.
the tone of the panel was more like what's next, like where is this going? And there were some interesting opinions that came out of there, but a lot of them were kind of I don't know, like weirdly apprehensive about what's going on. Matt Gilgenbach has gotten a decent amount of press coming out of the show. He's the guy who did Retrograde.
Sure.
Was apparently a total failure.
Well,
and
the
now,
game that sold literally nothing or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like that's tragic on one hand, but on the other hand, it was like a good
Is it because that game wasn't that good?
No, I know. Like I played it in 08, 09, I think, and was like, okay, all right. I don't.
Wasn't its only thing is that it uses the Guitar Hero controller?
It used the Guitar Hero controller like 3 years after everyone got sick of that. So
Right, so like it had a gimmick going behind it, but I think
no, he was very like transparent about how badly timed his game was, but
Okay.
you know, like he was so downbeat about everything like on that panel. But okay, his new thing is Neverending Nightmares, which is like this horror game based on kind of his own mental illness visions and stuff.
I
But
heard about this. It sounds fantastic.
yeah, but again, it's like a Kickstarter, so who knows, right? Like it's kind
Sure.
of just it's a theory right now. It's a thing that could exist one day and could conceivably be cool, but who knows because it's not really real yet. But I guess if you want it to be real, go check out the Kickstarter page and download the prototype and see how you feel. But
Nah.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like I'm so kind of fed up with that kind of. Well, just trust me, man. It'll be good. You know, just pay me now, and then in like 2 years, you will get a thing, and maybe it'll be cool. And it's like the fact that like everyone from the top down is starting to do that. Like it's like, hey, I'm Inafune. I've been making Mega Man games for forever. Go fund my Kickstarter. Hey, I'm Peter Molyneux. I've been making video games for forever. Go fund my Kickstarter. It's just like, all right, I'm getting a little fed up with this.
Like I'm done with all of you sort of thing.
A little bit. Like it's just like I was in with like Tim Schafer like a year ago, but that was a year ago. Now we're kind of in this weird like gold rush mentality where everyone wants the same thing, and it's just like I don't know. I am no longer convinced of any of your video game ideas. Some of them might be absolute garbage. I'm just going to kind of wait and see. And if a lot of these don't exist because of it, good, because then the marketplace will be a lot less crowded, because it's kind of crazy right now. Like, the
Sure.
Mega Booth was cool on one hand, because there's so much stuff going on, but it was also, like, kind of suffocating, because there was so much stuff going on. Like, it was just like... I don't know. Like, early in the show, there were tweets going up, like, man, you guys should come down to the Mega Booth. You can just walk up and play whatever you want. That was maybe true for like 5 minutes. That place was like swamped with people like the entire show. I got to play a few things, but there was a bunch of stuff where it's just like I don't want to stand around and wait to play Hotline Miami 2 because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot like Hotline Miami 1, and whatever. I'll wait.
And it is, right?
Yeah, it's Hotline Miami. You shoot the guys.
That's
I don't
good
know.
though.
Yeah,
Nice
that's
little action kill 'em like puzzle game.
Yeah, it's totally cool. It's just I don't know. I don't have time for that. Like I was going to so many panels and stuff that I never had too much time to just sit in a line. So I never did that. So I probably missed some stuff, but I'm tired of the lineup to see my thing at this point. Like I don't know. I guess it's like part of it's just the barrier between developers and the people that play games has now just like completely morphed into like one thing. Like almost everyone there had like it felt at some point like everyone there, be they attendee or a person behind a booth, was secretly also a game developer. You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes they were. Like I would turn around and it's just like, oh, you know, Jim Crawford is talking to Tom Francis about Gunpoint, and look who's over there, it's Kyle Pulver. Like it was just like weird. Like there were people there who weren't demoing a game, but they were all kind of floating around and like talking about each other's
Well, because
games.
all indie developers, as we found out, are basically friends with each other, right? They have like an underground network of
Kind of,
developers.
yeah. It's kind of weird to like, once you've kind of seen that that is true and know who to recognize, you're just kind of like, wait a minute, like who here is just video game guy who likes video games? Like, is that man even in here anymore?
I don't think so. Because
I
like even you at this point, it's just like I've talked to like 10 of you.
Yeah,
So
and it's like I'm so bad at doing that. Like, it's like, hey, I'm from this podcast. It was more just like, hey, I know, like it was just, I was not very good at like asserting who I
it
was,
was
and
kind of like that last year too, though. Like
yeah,
you and I would just go run up to somebody. It's
yeah.
just,
This time
and I
I'm
could
like,
tell the whole time you felt uncomfortable, like when we chased Will Smith down for like 2 floors.
right, yeah, it was kind of weird. I saw him again, but I didn't do a shout out because it was just me standing there, and I don't know, like I'm bad at doing that without any kind of like social construct that can make that happen. Like I was just totally overwhelmed a lot of the time, or just super bitter. Like day two, I was so angry. Like I left the show early and just was like in this weird storm cloud of just like I don't even know like what I'm doing here, what I'm supposed to do. Like am I working or am I here for fun? Like how do I have fun when I'm kind of not enjoying a lot of the games? Like it was just like I don't know.
To be
I was
fair though, like people that go to PAX to like look at games and play games are not probably going to PAX for the right reasons. It's more about just hanging out.
I guess like there's still a huge contingent of people that are going there just to get swag. Like just to like lining up and like, yeah, give me that wonderful 101
That's
map.
funny to me though. Like
Yeah.
I I would do that for sure, but I'm pretty sure it would just be to give it away to people that listen to this and stuff.
Yeah.
Because why not?
I have a Fantasia hat if anyone wants it. It doesn't fit very well. Like that was almost forced on me because I went to their panel and it was just like sitting on my seat. So it was just like, well, I don't want to like throw this away. So it's got stars on it. I like that movie, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm trying to think if there's like really any standout thing that was like, well, that was amazing. Like I can't wait for that. Like it's just like it was either stuff that was already out. Like there was a lot of stuff that was already available. Like it's just like, oh, if you know at all what's going on in the indie game space, you're gonna be kind of bored because like half of the PAX 10 already exist and you've probably played them. Papers, Please, you
Sure.
have them.
Sure.
I will say the Papers, Please booth was great though because it actually had physical stamps.
Did you talk to Lucas?
I said hi and like that I like the game and stuff, but
You didn't ask him when he can make some goddamn time?
no, I didn't do that. I was more just kind of like, hey, yeah, we've played the game. I got the 19th ending, and he was like, oh yeah, no, that one. And then he showed me endless mode and stuff. And endless mode looks cool. It's just I need to unlock that thing.
Is it just that you keep going without a time limit for the day?
There's actually like 3 different kind of sub rules within that mode that you can kind of set up. Like you can kind of have a hard time limit, like just see how many you can process in 10 minutes. You can try to keep going as long as possible, or you kind of have this weird kind of meter on screen that's like you've gotten too many citations, you failed, but you can kind of keep going as long as you keep that positive. It looked kind of cool. Like you can extend the life of that game indefinitely. Wow, Brittany's assembled this giant monster computer. This black monolith.
Well, she got a new case, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess the issue was you couldn't put a second video card in there because it was too close to the edge of the old case.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Dual business. And
Yeah.
then maybe Mirror's
Get
Edge
some
will...
crossfire going on, get both of those bad boys running at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know why, but Mirror's Edge was chugging up real bad whenever glass would shatter. It was
Honestly, like, even some games, I think they're just badly coded because, like, if you have a decent computer, some games will just chug in some points. I think Nathan just disconnected. I'm pretty sure he disconnected. So I'm gonna just drink. Yay. Nathan has Sean internet issues. I don't know if I'd go that far. Well, everybody, Nathan is dead. Rest in peace. And all that. Oh, man. So now it's just me. Hello. I gotta find out what the hell happened here. Murdered by his own per card. Rest in peace, Nathan. Exactly. I want everybody to hashtag Krasnor, hashtag RIP Nathan, and hashtag never forget. Hello, Meowth.
Hello.
What the hell happened?
The internet like tripped.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole box. I don't know. Hey, we're back.
The whole box.
Yeah, the internet box, whatever that's called.
Oh man, you don't have your crazy hats anymore.
The router. What?
They're gone.
Oh man, this sucks. Hold on.
I'll give you a second to get your hats back on.
Google Effects. Okay. What? Okay.
You're unnecessary monocle, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the last thing you were saying was, honestly.
Okay.
You were probably talking for like that whole time you were disconnected, I'm assuming.
A decent amount of time, yeah. Day 2 was bad. Had I said that?
Day 2 was bad.
Yeah, day 2, I left the show early, kind of in this weird storm cloud zone.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was really hungry, so I went back and ate a bunch of pizza and then fell asleep and woke up just in time for the giant bomb panel. I was actually literally the last person allowed into the theater.
So you were at the very, very back. You didn't get any of that.
No,
Epic
there was.
Disney swag.
I did actually because there was like one seat available on the far left side of like the fourth row, so I was in the same row as like Brad Muir
Nice.
and like a bunch of like upfront people. So I got like $2 of harmonics money.
Cool.
And
Well,
that
I mean,
was,
like everybody did, right?
Apparently not. Apparently it didn't actually filter into the inner crowd very well. So a
Oh,
lot of the edges got most of it.
okay.
Um, but yeah, that
So
was
I
that. Was,
watched that online.
okay.
I found like I know it's a site and blah blah blah. I found it kind of gross that they had their Disney friend come up and promote their game.
Um.
Like that still kind of bothers me. Like when they go up there and they're like talking to the crowd or whatever, or like John Drake goes up there and basically belittles everybody and like
Yeah.
throws down. Like that's fine.
Mhm.
When you have what's his name go up there and just like give stuff out for his game and then say the date it's coming out and like it's I don't know, it's just kind of gross to me.
Well, I mean, Disney Infinity is already out, but
Yeah.
oh right, no, I think he was talking about some expansion or something.
Yeah.
It is kind of, it does get kind of strange at some point because like they've known that guy for almost a decade, so it's like it is a friend of theirs and it's his job and whatever. But yeah, I mean, if they're not gonna like ever weigh in on whether or not Disney Infinity is like a good thing, then
Well, they
there's kind of,
can't, right?
well, they could, they just won't because they don't want to because it's a friend of theirs.
Well, I mean,
I
even if
mean,
if they actually like it, they're gonna look shitty or whatever, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, they had to do that for a while when they were reviewing Rock Band and stuff. Like, it's just like, hey, by the way, Alex Navarro, who we know really well, works there. So if that impacts like how you are reading this review, that's cool. We're just gonna let you know. Like, there was like a little editor's note on there. So if they kind of feel they need to extend that at some point, like if there's like some elaborate coverage of Disney Infinity, and they're just like, hey, by the way, we know John Vignacchi and have for a long time. That's cool, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, free giveaways. Like Adam Boyes being now a pretty big dude at Sony is kind of weird because they've known that guy for a while too. So for him to be kind of the face of Sony and then giving away Last of Us or whatever, I don't know. That wasn't like a critical panel. It was just them goofing around. So
Sure. No, like I understand that. I just still think it's a little bit gross. And I
mm,
mean, obviously, but I'm gonna say it anyways. It's a real bummer not having Ryan around anymore. Watching that,
yeah, kind of. I mean, the Cards Against Humanity panel was like a giant tribute to him.
I missed like that was live streamed,
It
and
was live.
I missed most of all of that. I got in to the live stream at the part where they were showing the like video of him burning money and everything after.
Yeah, that video is pretty fantastic.
It's great, yeah.
We went to try to get into that, and it had filled up like at least an hour and a half before the event, so that kind of sucked. We left the Double Fine party to go try to get into there at like 8:15 or thereabouts. It's like an hour and 15 minutes before the panel started, and they were just like, "Oh no, it's full. Please go away." It was just like, "Oh, okay." So I watched the like the archived version of that like 2 days ago. Um, so yeah, that was kind of unfortunate that we weren't able to be there for that, but yeah, but that kind of filled in a missing blank for me because like we were at the Double Fine party and it was just really weird because it's like, why is like everybody leaving? And then it's like, oh, Brad Muir left to go to that. Okay, now I at least know what that was about. Like,
Sure.
yeah, I gotta say, like the Double Fine party was weirdly disappointing compared to last year, just because like it ended so early compared to last year.
Well, like I saw you tweet you were going to it really early because last year I think it happened at like what 8 or 9 or something maybe.
Maybe. It started at 6, and we left around 9:30 or something, and it was totally winding down. Like it was like, oh, like half the Double Fine staff are already gone. And yeah, like it. The main thing that like really differentiated this year and last year was uh, like weirdly like how much Idle Thumbs awareness I had this year made this year strange, whereas last year I had no idea what that was. So it was just like, oh, who's this guy? I don't know. And then like talking to Chris Remo for like an hour. And this
Yeah.
year knowing like having more context made those conversations really weird. And also Idle Thumbs meetup happened like the first day and it went really badly.
How
Like
so?
there were like 24 people and there was nowhere anywhere near the convention center that could accommodate that many people. So eventually it just kind of became like this group of 24 people like standing in the street just kind of like, well, what do we do now, for like 40 minutes, and then eventually it just kind of broke up into like 5 different groups involuntarily. Like literally like me and this other guy went inside GameWorks to kind of try to find some tables. Came back and like 12 people were gone. And it's just like, oh, I guess they just kind of ditched us. And then like 6 more people were like, all right, well, we're going to go over here. And it was just like, okay. And then like the group that was left was just like, do you want to play board games or something? And it's just like, well, how about we go over here? There's Wi-Fi and we'll try to find out where everybody went. We were sitting there like talking about games, and you could just like see disappointment come across like 2 or 3 people in our group, and they just kind of like quietly and kind of grumpily walked away. And you're just like, all right, sorry we couldn't entertain you, but that's kind of how it went. But yeah, like I think at the end it ended up being basically like 3 of us went and started a game of Ticket to Ride, and then like 1 or 2 like an enforcer who was off shift, and like a friend of one of them came and joined our group. We were just kind of hanging out, and it was fine. Like, it was like a fine little group of people playing this weird trains game. But like considering what I was hoping to get out of that whole meeting was just kind of like, this fell apart.
Yeah.
They act like, yeah, Chris actually mentioned it on on the podcast this last week, just kind of apologizing for how weird it was, because yeah, it was super weird. Like, it was just like 2 dozen people who like kind of didn't know each other at all, and yeah, oh man, now I feel all self-conscious. Thanks a lot, Meowth. Jeez, calling me out on my own show.
I know.
All right. Hey, Paul, why don't you monologue for a while, and I'll
No, I'm actually genuinely interested more in about PAX, because like I wasn't there and whatnot. But
Yeah.
That's too bad. Like going back to the giant bomb panel that I watched or whatever the video of, I do like that Patrick was actually like, well, we would just basically steal all of our jokes from Idle Thumbs. It's like, yeah, you guys do.
Well,
Like a good portion of everything from Idle Thumbs.
well, I mean, like Scoops and
The Wizard.
the Wizard stuff,
Shitty
kind of
Wizard, yeah.
crossed over. And I mean, it honestly seems like those dudes are kind of like up on weird games coming down the pipe before a lot of other people are. So it's just like, hey, we're talking about Cart Life, and then like 3 weeks later, other people are talking about Cart Life, and it's just like, yeah, you can kind of like they're kind of more on the pulse of this stuff than some other podcasts. So they
Yeah.
also don't do reviews though, so that kind of I've been actually thinking about that lately, just in like how valuable are reviews anymore, because like a lot of the
They're
times,
not.
well, I mean, I think it's this past week, like a bunch of Rayman Legends reviews came out, and she's like 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, and she's like, I don't care, I don't want to play that. Like, I just
Yeah,
don't wanna
no,
play
I'm
that.
with you. Like the other one, what was it, Origins or whatever?
Yeah,
It was okay.
it was fine. It was a platformer, jumped on shit.
But yeah, I don't care about
Like
this
stuff.
other one at all. I don't care that it's charming. I don't care that it's like tight controls or whatever. I don't care about any of that. What I do care about is the music, and I can listen to that in my headphones while I play another game.
Yeah, that's
So.
that's kind of a thing that happens with some games. Like, this game has a great soundtrack. Okay, I'll buy that then. You know, like, like keep thinking back to Shatter. It's like, man, Shatter was a great game, and it's like, wait, was it, or was
No,
that soundtrack
it wasn't.
good? You're just like, you're
The
right.
soundtrack was really good.
It was a soundtrack.
It was.
I'm trying to think. Oh, I guess like people really like the Super Meat Boy soundtrack, so my brain went, oh right, Mutagenics. There was a trailer there, and I got a comic book, and that sounds funny. But
That's good.
it basically looks like Hoarders. Like, it's like they're making a Hoarders simulator. So
I can get behind that.
yeah.
Well,
that could-
I'm kind of living it, so whatever.
Oh really?
No,
That's-
not at all. I have like a computer, couch, and a TV here. Everything else is not mine.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I guess we don't have a cat anymore. I guess that's news.
what happened to Vinny?
He didn't die or anything. He's still alive. It's more just like cat sitting while we were gone turned into, hey, you should probably keep him. And then that went like, yeah, okay. And it was like, oh, I was kind of joking, but at the same time, this might make things easier. So okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just don't have him. I mean, like, we're in a basement suite, and I was in a basement suite prior to that too, and it's just like he has no opportunity to go outside or look outside, and I just felt more and more depressed about
You gotta buy
having
him
a
that
cat.
cat grass, yo, and a fan.
Yeah,
Then you're
Some-
good.
something to keep him happy. I just felt like we were kind of dragging him down, and that someone else could kind of have a bunch of windows and stuff for him. I don't know. It worked out. Kind of miss him sometimes though. Just kind of like, Open the door when you get home. She's like, oh yeah, that's right.
But then you're wondering, like, is it because you're excited to see me, or because you want to get out of here, away from me?
Yeah, a lot of cat jailer anxiety. Like, what is the nature of this, like, ownership or whatever is kind of strange. So, cat
Yeah.
ownership, I don't know.
How was the drive to and from PAX?
It went fine. I didn't end up doing any, though I volunteered a couple times. It was just kind of like,
Who did you
no,
go with?
well, Brittany
Yeah.
and some friends of hers, I guess,
Okay.
who I've met before. We went to like a Christmas party last year with them and stuff. At their house, they make great eggnog there, so they're good people.
Okay.
And they'd never been, so I guess that was the main thing. Like we ended up with like Brittany staked out 4 tickets, well 4 sets of 4 one-day passes because that's how it goes now. That's how high the demand was this year. And then it was like, well, should we invite like a couple people who have been several times, or should we invite like someone who's never seen it before? And they'll be
Is
like,
that how it is, though? Like, do you think they're
what?
maybe doing that so they could get more money out of people? I think they are.
Yes, actually, I was kind of talking around it, but yes, it seems like there's a weird allocation of passes because obviously you want to stay for all 4
Should we
days.
just get this out of the way? I think the guys at Penny Arcade are just kind of dicks.
Mm.
Like when it comes to stuff like that, I think they take advantage of the people that actually enjoy the stuff they do. I am not talking about dickwolves. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm
Okay.
just kind of wondering if it's like, is it as
Dude, they have a
crap as that?
Kickstarter for their site that
They
gets
did have.
millions of people every week.
It's true. They did have a Kickstarter for their podcast, and the goal was $10 or whatever. But I've been thinking more and more about kind of just the Kickstarter thing, just in light of how much Kickstarter is being shoved in everyone's face. A lot of the time, it's just, are you a fan of this thing? Yes, you'll spend money on it. No, well then, why do you care anyway? So,
Well, I mean, you have to do that with
on,
Kickstarter because then I'm not giving people money blind.
yeah, no one's going in there. It's like, I want to spend $20 on Kickstarter. What's going on this week? Oh, this sounds cool. It's like, no, I found out that this specific thing that I like is doing a Kickstarter, so I will help them.
Sure.
Like it's never like just general Kickstarter charity bucks that then would have filtered elsewhere. So whenever people get like really upset about someone high profile using it, it's kind of people who would never look there anyway. So
It doesn't really even matter because if those people are so high profile anyways, they could just do it on their own site and people will still buy it. And then they wouldn't have to give a cut to Kickstarter.
hypothetically, yes, but at the same time, like a lot of high profile dudes are still using it. Like Peter Molyneux and Inafune came up this very podcast, and they're doing pretty good. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't understand why they're using it, but
I guess
to
because they
jump on
want
the bandwagon maybe?
they want creative control. They want their own industry. Essentially, they don't want to play the publisher game anymore. Like I get it, but at the same time,
No, I mean like why don't they just do it through their own means? Like
I
what
mean,
like I don't know, why doesn't like instead of making a Kickstarter, why doesn't somebody like PewDiePie just go on his channel and say, "Yo, donate to me," and then a million people that are like 12 years old will be like, "Okay, I think you're funny. I'm gonna steal my parents' credit card right now." Like he could, people that are that big profile can do that. I don't understand why they're using Kickstarter in the first place. I guess
well, I guess the Shadow of the Eternals thing kind of.
that thing is so dumb.
Well,
Yeah.
like that went terribly, right?
That
Like,
went
they tried it
terribly on their
own.
own site. I don't think they used Kickstarter, right? They had their
No,
own thing.
they started on their own site. It went terribly. They tried it on Kickstarter too. It still went terribly. And then somehow that game still got greenlit because I don't know. So
Well, because they have enough money that they can actually do it. Like they always had enough
guess.
money that they could do it. I think they were
Yeah,
just trying to squeeze more out of people, and maybe for promotional reasons.
maybe it's kind of weird. It's just like, well, why would you spend your own money when you could get someone else to pay for it? Is kind of the rationale a lot of the time.
Sure,
So like,
of course.
hey, Zach Braff, you have millions of dollars. What are you doing? It's just like, well, why would I spend my own millions of dollars if I have a lot of fans that I can cash in on? You're just like, fair enough. Okay.
Especially when they're not an investor. Like,
Yeah.
they're just literally
They're
giving you money.
money. They're just donating money out of their Scrubs induced haze. They're just so excited.
Mhm.
Like, and Spike Lee tried it. I don't think it worked out. I didn't follow up on it too much, but last I heard, Steven Soderbergh gave him a bunch of money, but then that was all I heard. So I don't think that Kickstarter actually made it.
Mm.
Because maybe part of. Well, maybe you should have waited till after the Old Boy remake came out, because conceivably that could be a good movie, and then people would be excited about Spike Lee again.
Are you
Instead of
excited for it?
I'll watch it. Josh Brolin.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
mustache off.
Yeah, I
Come
did.
on. Hey, mustache. There you go.
There you go. You just like snap your fingers and it goes back on your face. That's how you know whether or not somebody's debonair enough, is when their
Yeah.
mustache actually follows them on their face.
They can summon mustaches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Kickstarter craziness. It's just panel stuff. I don't know. PAX. Everyone's trying to sell you something.
Mm.
Was kind of just.
Did you talk to like Alec or Kyle or any of those guys at least? Hang out a bit?
I didn't see Alec there actually. I assume he was. I played some Towerfall again, but
Okay.
I didn't actually see Alec there.
Did you ask Matt to answer his goddamn emails?
No, I at some point I was like too gun shy to like harass indie devs. Like, it's just like, hey, I know who you are. You should listen to me. Like, I just got kind of. I'm just gonna quietly.
Dude, if
say,
you're not gonna harass indie devs, who are you gonna harass?
I don't know. Nobody. Like, just kind of walk around feeling weird.
Like subordinates, I guess. If you
Yeah.
ever create a company.
Yeah, that's what I want. I need that power.
That's why I want to create a company, just to like harass people.
Have minions. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah.
So it was
PAX.
good.
It ended up being good, but there was like some weird negative times there that
Like
Yeah.
all of your day 2, from the sounds of it, was just terrible.
day 2 kind of derailed real bad. That was kind of because of post day 1, which was like the weird failed Idle Thumbs meetup and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, just like I at some point it felt like part of my problem was like knowing too much about who people are, because then
Okay.
you get really intimidated. Like, if you don't know, you can just walk up and be like, oh hey, whatever, what's this, and then like go play and have fun. But if you're like, oh shit, that's the guy who made this game, I better be real careful what I say.
Sure.
You know, just
Kind of like Catch
Yeah, this is
22
great.
last year, where it's just
Oh.
like we didn't know either of those guys, so just
yeah,
like
so
talk to
it's
them.
easier to just kind of get excited and not know that the people who matter are watching. Like, this time, knowing that, it's just kind of like, yeah, this game's real cool.
But then I think you have to go in with the attitude that these people don't matter as much as you do, so they should be afraid of talking to you.
That was kind of a weird like ego thing. I was like trying to figure out, because it's just like, I don't like, who is anybody here? Like, is everyone here secretly have a podcast or have a game? Like,
Well, I guess I just mean in general, like even if you were a complete nobody, you're the guy who might or might not buy their game.
right.
So they
I'm
should
the
be on their hands and knees, like bent over, ready to please you, right?
I guess, but like, that didn't help really, because like that was actually the tone in some cases. It was like there was like a desperation to everything. Like, it was just like, oh, please buy my game. What did you like, there was some of that too, and it's just like, please, I don't know, I don't know, please, like, I've had years previous where like I played Need for Speed Shift and thought it was totally not very good at all. Like, I was like, this is kind of shitty. But then there was like a PR guy right there, kind of like, so what do you think? What do you think? And I was just like, I don't know. Like, the looks pretty nice and the cars control well. I don't, Like, he's like, no. But how do you feel? And it's like, I felt weirdly apprehensive, because it's like, this is a guy who's really invested in this thing. Do I tell him I think it's bad, or do I just kind of walk away? So I don't know.
Did they have the stuff on the 3rd floor, which is like they have the mega booth or whatever in the corner, and those are like indie games that are still games.
Mhm.
And then last year they had the like indie games that were like betas or alphas or just like really kind of crappy. Did they still have that?
I don't know if it's like a generalization or whatever, but it seems like post Minecraft, everyone is kind of trying for that rolling alpha mentality. So I wasn't really sure. Some of them were like, well, this is out, but it's not good. Are you gonna fix it? Maybe. Like,
Well, because like last year in that area, there was a game that was kind of like it was trying to play like Zelda with more Japanese like JRPG elements.
mm-hmm.
And like the guy's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Well, I think it needs a lot of work, and even then, I wouldn't play it."
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the creator of the game, but then at the same time, it's like you made a product I would never buy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, fix
I
it or
kind of
just scrap it.
I kind of wish I could just do that without like feeling as weird about it as I did, because like yeah, there were so many games where it's just like, well, I mean it works, but I don't want to play this.
The
This
weird thing is, like,
like a action platformer. Like there was one game that was like extremely derivative of Castlevania to a fault. Like it's just like, oh, you put basically Medusa heads in here too. Awesome.
Castlevania is great
Jump
though.
in.
When Konami did it,
Sure,
anyway.
but like that kind of just like you put the weird frustrating thing in here too. Why? Like I died a bunch of times. Like it was just like, I don't know. This isn't fun, but it wasn't going to be because you were emulating old weird design choices. I don't know. Like there wasn't a lot of like freshness in some of these ideas I was seeing. There was like a lot of nostalgia stuff. Um, you, like even stuff I kind of liked. Like there was one game that kind of resonated with me, just kind of on what its subject matter was. It was called Lifeless Planet.
Okay.
Like it's like, like a dude's like, hey, it's sci-fi game set in space. You're this astronaut trying to like make your way across this weird barren landscape or whatever. It's like, okay, I like space. Like, let's go. And then through talking with him a bit, it's like Twilight Zone came up, and like it's like, I love Twilight Zone. This is fantastic. And then I mentioned Eco, and he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. And I was like, oh, cool. But even then, like there's some kind of like rough edges in the platforming and stuff. Like it's a pretty straightforward linear platforming game, but he seemed aware of like some of the faults in it. Like there was a really bad jumping puzzle, and he was like, yeah, no, I know, like I'm gonna fix that. Like this is an early build or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. Like there was at least like a humility to some of that. Some other games I've played, like some at E3 too, it's just like, oh, this is out already? Are you serious? This is terrible, is like my internal monologue. But, expressing out loud, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like I don't know. I can't be as blunt with people as I maybe should be.
I do agree with you. It is hard.
Yeah, like it's
especially
like,
when it comes to the
spent
indie
months
guys,
with
because
years.
it's like there was one guy in a
Yeah.
basement working on this for his whole life, and this is like the best thing he'll ever do, and it's a failure.
Right. Like I actually like knowing the retrograde story was weird, because it's like, oh shit, like I played this game 4 years ago, thought it wasn't very good 4 years ago, and the guy who is now really depressed that his game didn't do well was there. What if 4 years ago I was like, man, this is a terrible idea, and then walked away? Maybe he would have not made it, and then would have saved him a lot of trouble. Maybe.
Maybe he would have been raped all night by the dickwolves.
Do you want to transition awkwardly to talking about that? Or
Well, I guess not now. I'm gonna ask you quickly though. Firefall, did they have the giant booth again?
Firefall is gone. No, Firefall was
Firefall's
not
gone. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see Firefall at all.
Firefall was there every year I've been there, in a huge booth that took up a good quarter of one of the halls.
No. Yeah, you're right. I noticed no evidence of that. I'm trying to think what like the giant crazy booths were. I mean, like Nintendo, Sony.
Apparently,
Microsoft.
Rise of the Triad had a big Hitler booth.
No. There was Wolfenstein, the Bethesda area. Which was
Gotcha.
a huge area. It was like Elder Scrolls Online, and then Wolfenstein. Like just this whole section of the hall was that stuff. And the giant bomb panel, they mentioned that there was just like video of Hitler playing. So Brittany and I were like, well, we got to see what that's all about. It's like maybe an 8-second clip or something. Like it was just a trailer. They basically just had 2 trailers playing, Elder Scrolls and Wolfenstein. And briefly in the Wolfenstein trailer, there's video of Hitler. There's also a great kind of retcon of history stuff. So it's like a Nazi flag on the moon, stuff like that. So it's just like, it's so dumb.
That's pretty
Nazis.
good.
Yeah. I didn't wait in line to play that game though. I'm told it's a first-person shooter. You shoot stuff. So I was just like, yeah, it'll be a game where you shoot stuff. I'm fine. I'm gonna walk away. I don't want to wait for that. So yeah, I'm a total elitist about that stuff now. I just don't care. Don't care to hear it.
You always
Assassin's
have
Creed
been.
game with pirate ships. Fuck that. I don't want to wait for that. Whatever. If it's great, I'll play it in 3 years on a Steam sale when it's like $5.
Sure.
Oh. That's actually maybe part of my thing, is like video games now, in light of Steam sales and Origin sales and all, or like Humble Bundles and all that stuff. Every video game you present to me now seems worthless. Like,
Well, every game you present
this is
now
adult.
has a $20 price tag attached to it. Anything higher, it has to be spectacular.
Right, or at least have been published by a giant publisher. Like Molyneux's new game is going to be $19, and it's just like, yeah, I guess that's as much as you can ask for now in the indie space before you're kind of like going insane.
I
And
think
even
that's
then,
as much
people
as you
get
can
mad at
ask for like anything, if you want my honest opinion about it. Cause
Yeah, like it's just like, when are bigger publishers going to realize that, oh, I am not going to pay you $60 for Tomb Raider. I'm going to wait until that Steam sale when it's like 10, and then I'll buy it and go, oh, this game's kind of bad, but at least you got 10 of my dollars, so
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's literally what happened. Dishonored too. I don't. I. This keeps happening. Like I play a game.
Dishonored's okay.
Is it? I don't know.
You
That
didn't play
first
it?
hour is kind of shitty. That's all I played. You know, the
When
tutorial.
you get past all the tutorial stuff and then it kind of opens up a little bit, it's okay.
Okay. I was.
If you don't want to get past the tutorial stuff, I would not hold it against you because it's boring as shit.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of one of the things like I'm still kind of wary about with like Witcher 2. People are like, "Oh yeah, no, the tutorial is terrible. You need to play like 4 hours of that game and then it gets good." And you're just like,
No,
"Man,
the
I'm
Witcher
so tired."
games are fantastic as soon as you understand that the combat system is hard to learn and it's kind of shitty and that it won't hold your hand at all.
Okay.
When you get
like,
past that, everything else is fine.
well, the tutorial was trying to kind of teach me the in and outs of the combat. It just kind of broke at one point, so that was frustrating. So then I just skipped it.
Sure.
So now I kind of jumped in, and then like part of my issue was also just like, this is really cutscene heavy, and I hate that now. I just don't want it anymore. I don't know. I'm in like this like one of the first panels we went to on the first day was kind of talking about that, like storytelling in video games, like cutscenes versus just gameplay stuff.
Sure.
And it's like, man, like I the terribleness of so many cutscenes. I just don't want it anymore. Like, if you don't have a skip button in your game, I'm probably going to turn your game off.
So you're now going to discount any Metal Gear games ever?
Maybe they're terrible.
Okay.
I have to revisit them. I'm not really... You know, to be fair, I did come out of 4 going, that was kind of bad. So,
Well,
maybe. Like, they're kind of weird movies.
The really, really great things about 4 were definitely overshadowed by kind of the dumb things. So...
Yeah, all I remember is that game ends with a 90-minute video, and that's insane to me.
Dude, it like starts and in the middle there's like a 90-minute video. Like,
yeah, I know, but I guess it's just like at some point it's like, are you making glorified machinima or video games? Like,
no,
what are
machinima for sure. It's
you?
Kojima.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's a way to go, I guess, but that's not doing it right, pretty much. Like, not that there's like a canon right or wrong way. In theory, because I don't want to be a closed-minded asshole, but there is, and you're doing it wrong, Kojima.
And you are a closed-minded asshole.
Yes, I will accept that as long as you stop doing it. Because
sure.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, you'll stop for them, but there will always be a Kojima.
I started doing it. I started doing that in Tomb Raider, just skipping cutscenes, and that game is insane that way because you just skip ahead to like something crazy. Like, there's no context for what you're doing, so you're just like, oh. I don't want to watch this. This is boring. Press B.
That's the wrong way to do it.
It's jumping at your face, and you're just like, all right. I don't know why that's happening, but okay.
I'm just going to make a quick transition to something I've been playing.
Okay.
So I reactivated my account for World of Warcraft because I was watching a stream, and somebody was playing the old stuff. I was just like, these old bosses were fun. I mean, there's a lot of garbage about playing that game that wasn't. But, like, the actual encounters and stuff were fun, so I'm going to jump back in and see what's going on. And then I bought Miss of Pandaria because there was nothing I could really do to, like, further my character or to play, really, that I hadn't seen before. The cutscenes in World of Warcraft are done really well because they are, at most, 1 minute.
Okay.
And they are there solely for the purpose of setting up what is going on in the world and what you have to accomplish next. So, like, the cutscenes in that aren't, like, a story playing out. It's like, well, because of your actions, now this giant monster appeared here, and then you're back playing. It's like, oh, God, look what you've done. You got to fix this sort of thing. So I think that's where cutscenes should be, where they're kind of, like, setting up the next part of the story, where they're not playing out the story for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's just like here's setting up gameplay for you to then engage in, as opposed to like we just don't know how to tell a story without just basically explicitly telling you what's going on, so we're gonna do that instead. And actually, I guess on that point, Stanley Parable kind of was a great parody of how a lot of games do that, like how they just tell you how you're supposed to be feeling right now because of I don't know emotions. Like it's just like yeah, like there was a mod a few years ago called Stanley Parable that got a decent amount of praise and celebration because it's like a weird, clever storytelling thing.
It still gets
Um,
praise and celebration, but yeah,
yeah, the actual game is coming out now, and at first I was really dismissive of that being a thing because it was like, oh, they're just gonna reskin the mod, and the mod was kind of clever, but whatever. But based on the demo I played, like they might actually be generating a lot of new content, and the reason I say that is because like the demo was an exclusive PAX centric demo about demos, which was kind of funny.
okay,
Like it was kind of about like how playing a demo on a crowded show floor is like the worst way to know what a thing is. And
sure.
it would kind of like joke about that. There was like a checklist in the game about stuff you need to have in your demo. There was a moment where I was like running through the game too fast and the game stopped and said, "All right, you're doing a terrible job. You need to stand up and apologize to everybody here." And then it just like black like screen with white text on it said apologize. So it's just like, "Oh man." Like it was like deliberately antagonizing the player and like making fun of the player, but that's because the player usually kind of does a bunch of dumb shit anyway.
Well, the player's an
So
idiot. Yeah,
yeah, so this game will call you out for that, or like you walk into a room and there's like something silly, and it'll kind of there's this British narrator guy kind of joking around with you. Like it's like a pretty simple comedy in a lot of ways. Like you are just walking through an environment and the game is talking to you about it. But even so, it kind of it kind of laid bare a lot of dumb storytelling conventions a lot of games do. Like there was an emotions booth where you just stand in there and press a button and then it's like telling you a bunch of sad words and like this guy's reading this sad story, and then you step into a happy booth and it's telling you a bunch of happy words, and it's like yeah, see, neither is ineffective because the game is telling you how to feel. Seemed to be kind of the conclusion I was getting out of that. I don't know. It was a really confident demo. I don't know how like fun that game will be, I guess, in a lot of ways. Like it's a
sure.
pretty like non-interactive thing in a way. You're just kind of walking through hallways and stuff happens. But like it's very scripted, but like it seems like it's either really play tested or the guy who made it played a lot of games and kind of can anticipate what players are going to look at and what they're going to do. Yeah, it was one of the most interesting like demos I saw at PAX that seems to kind of get what's wrong with a lot of stuff and kind of play with it a bit.
Well, the fact
Which
that they were going to show Gone Home at
Yeah.
PAX, like,
How do you
why?
demo that game?
Why would you even do that? Like, maybe set up a little booth where you can sell T-shirts and like trinkets or something. Maybe even like
maybe just the
mixed
skull?
tapes of all the like crappy music in that game. That would have been
Nah.
fine.
Yeah, now you're thinking. Man, I'm digging my digital style right now. I'm just gonna say
It's pretty
People can't-
good. I was
people can't see that on the audio version, but if I could grow this mustache, I would have this mustache. It would be awesome. Wilfred
You've
Brimley.
tried.
I know.
You have tried. You had the handlebar mustache for a while, and you look like a pedophile.
Yeah, just the bushiness. Oh man, yeah. I went to the Mega 64 thing pretty early on in the show, and like Eric Badur was rocking the coolest mustache, like just like the grossest but awesome, like so confident.
Yeah.
He'd shaved it by day 4, and I was so disappointed.
Eric's a genuinely great guy. Like he's so
No,
nice.
he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the panel, there was like, when are you gonna shave that gross pedo stash? Was one of the questions. And he was like, never, ever, ever. And then day 4,
He
it
shaved
happened.
it. Yeah.
So it's too bad. Gave into the pressure or whatever. I'm not sure why I didn't ask about it, but it was kind of sad to see.
Well, I mean,
that.
you had a mustache before. It's a lot of work, like when you're drinking soup or eating the
It's itchy. It's just kind of weird.
and
It's hard to
eating
kinda,
the wings is hard.
yeah,
Saucy
yeah.
wings.
Keeping your face clean with extra stuff to get snagged on is kind of gross.
Yeah.
So, anyway, sorry. Before I sidetracked with facial hair stuff. What was the question? Or video games? Some? Huh?
Let's talk about dickwolves and
Okay.
specifically rape.
Oh right. We were talking about Gone Home. They boycotted the show because of all this stuff essentially. And then yeah, leaving the show, it kind of bubbled up like all over the place again because I guess there was a panel with Mike and
Let's
Barry.
describe to people that might not know, because I know there's at least one person in the chat, what we're talking about when we say dickwolves.
Okay, there's been tons of summaries of the timeline over the past week, but sure, okay. I guess if you haven't caught up on what's going on, like 3 years ago, there was a comic that was, in as far as I can recall, basically about the absurd black and white moral dilemmas players would face in video games. And one of the guys was like complaining about like, oh man, if you don't help our village, we're going to be raped by dickwolves. That was kind of one of the jokes, and the player's pretty indifferent because who cares? Because video games.
Mm-hmm.
MC Frontalot actually does a pretty great job of summarizing what that joke was going for and kind of why he thinks it works and whatever. But anyway, so that joke came out. Some people got upset because it uses the word rape rather flippantly.
Sure.
They responded pretty defensively with a comment, like another comic that kind of further seemed dismissive of a bunch of stuff. Like, it's just like, hey, if you read our comic and started raping people, please stop doing that. And that, that's again...
They're really good at throwing gasoline on the fire.
Yes.
They always have been.
Right. So, I mean, there was a bit of a spark, like a bit of a flame going on with just the original comic being a bit hard
from 2 years ago, right?
Right.
Whatever. Yeah.
Bit hard to understand in terms of like, oh, if you've played a lot of video games that boil down morals to this, you will understand why this was supposed to be funny and not just being crass.
Sure.
But if you don't, you're going to have a terrible time. And yeah, then they kind of added to it. Also put out merchandise that just had was Team Dickwolf.
Yeah.
And again, MC Frontalot kind of broke it down. Like, he was like, at that point, the type of person buying a Team Dickwolf shirt is just trying to be offensive.
Sure.
Like, they don't care about like what the original joke was even about. They just don't like censorship, want to say whatever they want, no matter how offensive it is. That's who's going that extra mile to buy the shirt. So you shouldn't have made that shirt. Essentially, like, it's like you were catering to your lowest common denominator when you add that extra thing. And
they're catering to money. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the lowest common denominator. If they're willing to pay, whatever.
Okay.
I think that's where they were coming from it. I don't know. I don't want to give them the credit that they're smart enough masterminds to really capitalize on, like, a controversial subject.
Yeah.
I just want to think they're kind of idiots that put out a shirt because they thought dickwolves was funny. Like, the term.
Mm-hmm.
Not the comic.
I mean, that's kind of where I was coming at. Is just like this, like where I'm coming from. This is being really defensive about a pretty dumb joke. Like, it's not a great joke. It's okay, but you don't need to get this up about it because, like, just let it roll off your back and move on. That didn't happen. So then they kind of continued adding to it. And then like, I mean, over the past few years, there's been kind of like this big kind of like, dude, that's rape culture. Like, that's, you're supporting rape. You're just kind of laughing it off. Like, it is very serious. And you're just like, okay, like, some of the fair points I was hearing was like, this is a huge crowd. There's like 70,000 people here. There, the facts are in, like, there's a percentage of people in this crowd right now who have been raped. So you are being really insensitive to someone who has had something legitimately really traumatic happen to them.
Okay.
Fair enough. Like that, yes. But, like, I don't know. At the point where you're kind of so dismissing the original context of it, like, that's a problem. Like, that's getting a bit kind of like all or nothing, like completely white. Like,
do you know why it offends me?
What aspect of this whole thing bothers you?
It's a shitty joke, and it's getting more people listening to it than it deserves.
Fair enough. Like, yeah, it's not a great joke. It was never that funny.
You know how you kill a comedian's career?
How's that?
You stop listening to them.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, if you didn't think it was funny, you stop reading Penny Arcade. And you, even though it's a small hit, if there's like that many people that were offended by it, it's a big hit in the end. That's all you have to do. That's it.
Yeah. If you don't like Tosh.0, stop watching that show.
Well, Tosh.0 is just terrible, and I never watched it to begin with.
Well, he got in hot water for rape jokes too, like a year ago or whatever. But yeah, I guess if you're not a fan of the comedy, like, stop engaging with it. But I guess where that becomes a dilemma for people is because people like PAX, they don't necessarily like Mike and Jerry and their sense of humor. So then it's like, well, there's this great event where I can go and kind of just be with this giant community of people who love video games, and I love that. But I know in the back of my mind that in the higher organizations of this company, there's somebody who may hold views I find pretty upsetting. So that's kind of a weird thing for people to kind of come to terms with, like, because a lot of people are saying they're going to boycott next year's show because of this stuff. And Gone Home, that Fulbright company already came to that conclusion based on that. And I guess the side of this whole thing that's kind of maybe overshadowed is transphobia.
Yep.
Like MC Frontalot addresses it briefly, but I guess he doesn't really elaborate on that whole side of the thing. Basically, like, where I've kind of come down on this is like, Mike hasn't been to a sociology class in at least 10 years. So a lot of people who are like, up on the latest terms and the latest PC language are getting really upset at someone who's kind of bluntly reminding them of, like, the past in any way. So it's just like, just because somebody doesn't know what the current, like, trend is in terms of being progressive doesn't mean they're not helping. Like, that doesn't mean they're anti moving forward,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it seems like people are jumping to the worst conclusion. Like, there's like, oh, Mike is a horrible psychopath. He hates everybody. It's just like, I don't know if that's fair. Like, he might just not know how to express this in your terms, so you're kind of at this weird clashing point. And, like, part of the problem is a lot of these arguments seem to be happening on Twitter, which is the absolute worst place to have any kind of argument whatsoever. Because
Or even discussions.
Anything. Yeah, you can't express anything well on that.
You know what Twitter is great for?
I watched this video.
When I'm just like, at Proton John, at Krasner, at Sean, hey, what you guys up to this week?
Yeah, or just like, hey, do you want to go grab some wings here or something? Like, that has happened.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing a meetup at this pub. That hasn't happened in a while, though. Maybe I'm like, we should do that. But, yeah, just communication. But, yeah, if you're ever going to be like, hey, why do you like this thing? Or why do you hate this thing? Or what's going on with this? I can't. It's either like a long string of tweets and then people are angry because you're spamming, or it's just, hey, here's a link to some blog somewhere or some video where I actually try to explain what I'm talking about. That seems to be the only way to do it. And even then, people are being kind of judgmental about the tone Mike has been taking in some of those explanation posts. Like, it's just like, I don't know if he really is that apologetic.
Well, he's not. Mike's a dick. I mean, once you get that in your mind, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever he says, he's going for just being kind of a dick. I mean, he was a kid that got picked a lot in school, and now he has money and people behind him, so he's just being a jerk about stuff. You get that in your mind, then whatever. Who cares? PAX is not about Penny Arcade. It, like, maybe was for the first year. Not really so much anymore.
No, I mean, that's kind of one of my things, too. Like, honestly, though, like, coming out of the show, I was definitely like, man, I am a lot less keen on going back to PAX next year. But that was for my own kind of set of reasons. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take a political stand. It was more just like, that wasn't as fun as it used to be.
Well, it sounds like now it's because you hate indie devs. So
yeah, they were the last strongholds. No, that's kind of the thing. Is it's just like, I think part of it's just like greed is kind of the forefront right now. Like, it's just like everyone wants to be a big hit, but they might not necessarily be making that interesting of a game.
It's becoming the, like, E3 for people that can't afford the price to come to E3.
Kind of like, there was one gentleman on the Rise of the Indies panel that had a really interesting perspective on it all, and it was basically just like, the barrier for entry into this business is lower and lower and lower every year. I think his name was Andy Moore.
Okay.
Just came to mind. I haven't actually played any of his games, but it was basically like the tools for creating games is like now so easy. That's just going to continue. Like, it's going to get easier and easier to make games to the point where it's no longer commercially viable to, like, be an indie developer anymore. You'll just, like, make games and people will play your games or not play your games and whatever.
Sure.
And, like, to me, what that sounded like was like, oh, that's kind of like YouTube. Like, just throw something up on YouTube and whatever. Like, maybe it'll work out. Maybe you can, like, do that. Maybe not. But you'll have made a video. That doesn't necessarily make you a filmmaker, but you'll be a game maker, sort of. It just won't matter anymore. Like, that won't be that interesting a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like right now they're still kind of fresh and new as like the tools become more accessible and stuff. But eventually it's just gonna be like, yeah, like whatever. Like everyone can type, everyone can write words, so you can make a story. But are you gonna become a published author? Maybe not. You
Sure.
know, is that YouTube video gonna ever do anything? Maybe, maybe not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Like we can say probably not because of all the people on YouTube, and even the like much bigger ones are even seeing like hits taken because there's so much out there
Yeah,
now.
like there's a lot going on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and then add games to it too. It's just like, well, some of these games might be worth playing. Some of them, like a lot of them, might not be. So, you know. And then at that point, though, it's kind of like, what is the point of critical websites, like review websites? Because
Yeah.
it's just like, well, they're not even covering everything. Like they didn't cover Cart Life until months after it came out. What, like, what are they for? Because they're just people. They're just trying to keep track of stuff. So I don't know. Like I've found myself placing less and less stock in what any reviewer says because it ultimately doesn't really
Matter.
mean anything to me. Like
Yeah.
it's like if I know that a developer I care about is making a thing, I'll probably find out about it.
Sure.
If not, like it's not like I need to find out about it before it comes out because by the time I do find out about it, maybe it'll be cheaper. So it's just like, oh, I didn't know Jordan Mechner's The Last Express was a cool thing. What is that? Oh, it's a 16-year-old PC game and it's $5. So I can play that for no money at all, essentially, as opposed to $60 back when it came out. And that's a thing. So it's just like the kind of day one being there for the event thing that doesn't seem to work well with video games because like like so many times I don't find the story the thing you're finding out anyway. So people are like, oh man, there's Grand Theft Auto 5 spoilers. It's just like, does that matter? Like, I don't know. If I wouldn't get anything out of it playing it myself, then it wasn't a very good video game anyway. So whatever. I still haven't read the Grand Theft Auto 5 spoilers. That's a real thing.
Really?
But yeah, apparently there
Guess who
was.
doesn't care about Grand Theft Auto 5?
You don't?
No.
Okay.
I will probably buy it just to see what the hype is about, though. I'm one of those people where it's just like, you know how people say you vote with your wallets?
Yeah.
I'm the person that's like, no, I'll vote with my opinion. Like, the wallet's not the problem here. It's my time and, like, how angry something makes me.
Right. So it's like, oh, I voted for my wallet. I said Dishonored was kind of okay. It's like, well, no, I didn't care that much. I don't know. Like, yeah, I own it, but that doesn't mean much. I don't know. Steam sale, though. So that kind of differentiates everything. Prison Architect, too.
Prison Architect, is that still $30?
Yeah.
That's about $20 too high for me.
I mean, again, it's kind of like an alpha thing, too.
Exactly.
So it's not even done yet. Like, yeah, we tried playing it. It's like, I don't know, like, and you're kind of in this weird point where you're just like, well, I don't know if this interface is really bad, or I can't understand what I'm looking at, or, like, it's just not done yet. Like, I don't know if this is my fault or the game's fault. So I'm just going to kind of stumble through it and hope it works out. But
Sure.
it was kind of a frustrating experience. Like, I like what they're trying to do, but I ultimately wasn't having that much fun with what I played. But I can't judge it yet because it's not over. So it's kind of a weird thing. Like,
No, but the thing is, like, you already have an insight as to what it's doing, so you can judge it, I think. I'm not the person that's like, you have to see it to the end. I've never been that person. If I'm not having fun right away, then I'm judging it, period.
Well, I kind of view software as like it's kind of it's never like it's not nailed down as much as like a movie. So
Sure.
it's like currently as of September 8th, 2013, you probably shouldn't buy Prison Architect. It's not very good yet. I can say that. But
Yeah.
maybe in a year they'll have patched it or added a bunch of cool features or changed something about it and I'll be like, wow, this is fantastic now. This is great. Like it's a dynamic thing. It can change. It can get better. Which was actually kind of one of the things the guy who made Retro City Rampage was talking about. Like, it was like his game came out and a bunch of reviews came that were just like, this is broken, this doesn't work, and like they were really low scores. So then he went and patched a bunch of stuff, fixed a bunch of things. But then the review scores obviously aren't ever going to go up because not a lot of people have dynamic review scores. So then he's kind of stuck with this stigma of bad reviews when the game that exists right now isn't the same one that they reviewed. So that's kind of where like Polygon stands out as being like maybe they have the right idea, where like the review score can change depending on the current state of the game. You know, like if you remember how SimCity went, like it was like 9.5, 8, 4. Now it's like, like, it's just like they broke it. They added this like server layer to everything that ruined the game. Don't play it. You
I
know?
mean, if you're gonna do that, every game that basically I played this week would progressively get worse.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like
Like,
because it gets older and new
like
stuff.
as World of Warcraft, you progress in it, like it
Oh
gets
yeah.
worse because then there's nothing to do anymore. Dota 2, maybe not so much Dota and LoL, but like Diablo 3 can get better because they add stuff and then get worse because no one's playing anymore. Like I play very multiplayer experience games this week.
Well, that might actually be a good thing for people to know, though. Like it's just like, oh, if you missed the zeitgeist on this, it is not good
Oh,
anymore.
like Fez.
Well, sort of, yeah. Like it's like the mysteries of this game have been solved. Now there's nothing for you to find, so don't worry about it. Like almost maybe with Journey too. Like it's like the cooperative element of that game is not there anymore because no one's playing it. Or for example, I'm playing Dive Kick on PS3. There's not a lot of people playing it,
Why are you
so it's
playing that?
boring. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it's a two-button game. It's simple enough. I was practicing with the different characters and stuff, but yeah, it's a joke. It's a one-note joke that is starting to not be funny. I don't know. It's
Was it ever funny to begin with? I always liked the idea.
yeah, okay.
However, that there was a game based around the like last few seconds of a fighting game where it's just like the first hit kills. I like that. I never
Yeah,
liked the idea that this is supposed to be funny. Who gives a fuck? Like really?
I I found it kind of funny for like 10 minutes at E3. So that was enough to kind of make me pay enough attention to it and spend $8 on it. But man, yeah, I guess this might actually bring me to like multiplayer stuff. Like, there's kind of been that distinction where it's like, oh, if you play this with a room full of friends, it'll be more fun. And it's just like, I think I've said this a million times. That's true of like almost anything. Like, hey, here's this ball. It's not very fun, but if you have a bunch of friends, you can play a game. And you're just like, well, yeah. Like,
You know
okay,
what else is better with a bunch of friends but not as good by yourself?
what's that?
Doing heroin.
Sure. I don't know how this directly applies.
Because, like you said, you can make that
Like,
argument for anything. We could do hard drugs together, and it would be funner if I did it than if I just did it by myself watching
I
My
guess you're
Little
right.
Pony
Like,
or something.
yeah, like drinking alone is a lot sadder than drinking with friends, so do it with friends and it's more fun. But, like I get what you mean. Like it's kind of not a valuable thing to say at some point. And like that's kind of it's been kind of one of the things that was like plaguing me about two specific games at PAX. Uh Towerfall, which we've talked about, and Samurai Gun,
Yeah, okay.
which I feel like I'm like for a while I was feeling like I was in this weird little crazy bubble where it's just like everyone realizes these are really similar, right? Like really similar. Like
Mhm.
really similar.
Didn't
Like
you
this is
tweet
like
somebody and say just like, isn't Samurai Gun basically just Towerfall with a samurai or something? And they
yeah.
were like, no, Samurai Gun's more just like Samurai and a Samurai in Towerfall or something.
Yeah, no,
Like
I
they said
actually
the same thing, just reversed.
I know. I just tweeted, okay, is Samurai Gun just Towerfall with swords and blood? Because that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. And then Max Temkin, who is publishing the game, tweeted back. It's like actually, Towerfall is just Samurai Gun with a bow and arrow. And it's like, okay, fair enough, I guess. But for me, like the distinction was always, but Towerfall's out like right now, whereas like your game isn't yet. So that seems kind of weird. But also, like, there's a depth to what's going on in Towerfall that I just didn't see in my time with Samurai Gun. Like you were just kind of just mashing the sword button and you have a gun, and that like that makes for tense little fast-paced fights or whatever. But that there's like ammo to take into consideration in Towerfall just seemed more interesting to me. But
Mhm.
also, I played that game first. Like at the end of the day, though, like it comes down to both of these games are multiplayer-centric games that are offline. So I don't think I'd play any of them ever anyway. Like outside of a convention where they make all the sense in the world because there's dozens of people around that want to play it. like I don't think I literally like practically speaking ever get to play either of those games. So I don't know. The first one to get online support is the winner,
Of
basically,
course.
because it's
Yeah.
like a tense, fast-paced little game that also lets people play it in the way people modernly play games.
I mean,
But
if you
anyway,
kind of go that way with everything, the Wii
yeah,
U has lost for everything, right?
they have online, but we
Do
haven't
they?
any. Yeah,
Can I play Mario with you if I bought a Wii U right now?
no,
Yeah,
and they
okay. So they
did.
failed because that's Nintendo's thing, is
No,
Mario.
I know. You're right. I did boot that thing up and being like, yeah, I'm gonna play this with my friend across town. Wait, what? What? It's 2012. Like, yeah, no, that was totally nuts. You're right. But okay, we're taking a break.
Yeah,
Pause. See you guys in a bit. Mustache Man, Big Boss. Did you get it?
yeah.
It's like a Metal Gear game I was trash talking earlier. Hideo Kojima.
I'll be right
Makes.
back.
All right, later. Oh, sorry, chat. I'm gonna be off screen. Fucking Halo 4. That game was not very good.
It was okay, I guess. It was Halo.
It was
like,
Halo.
Yo, you like Halo? Then you'll like this game.
I guess so. But do you go like, hey, those guys who made Halo 4, that's who I. Those are the opinions that matter.
No, absolutely not.
That's who I want to hear from. That's how I determine what I do in my life.
Honestly, they should never make a Halo game again. We need Bungie. They
kinda
had
done.
the formula.
Yeah, but hey, Destiny's coming out, so get your shooting over there. I guess I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, Meowth, I would have put Harry Potter movies in, but I haven't seen any of them, so I don't have much to say about them.
the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, she's marathoning them apparently.
Okay, that third one was good, and that sixth one was pretty good. But that's all I got. Anyway,
Yeah.
Alfonso Cuarón, he is making a movie about George Clooney in space. So, yeah.
George Clooney
Cuarón.
is the most important person to ever go to space.
I mean, Solaris was okay, but
I never saw it, actually.
he's been to space before, so
Hmm.
yeah. Steven Soderbergh. But okay. We were trash talking Halo 4 because the guys who made Halo 4 were trash talking Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
He's a misogynistic, horrible person because sexy ladies.
Well, no, he's just Japanese.
Sure.
Like,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to play the race card, but we both know, actually we all know, that the Japanese have a very different sensibility when it comes to half-naked women and teens and shit like that.
In video games.
Well, in their
particularly.
culture, in general.
In
like,
their culture, but also, like, this actually dovetails okay with the thing that was brought up at this gender diversity panel I went to.
Okay.
One of the people that asked the question, I forget her name, Heidi something. I follow her on Twitter too.
Okay.
She raised a question where it's just like, okay, like a lot of the panel was kind of being like, well, we need strong female protagonists that are doing very different things and like all this stuff. And then she was like, okay, what if I'm a woman who likes actually playing as like characters like Bayonetta because they're hypersexualized and crazy. Like you get to live out this weird fantasy through this character, or like in Dragon's Crown, which was also controversial, the Amazon character.
Well, it sounds like there are a lot of problems with Dragon's Crown apart from that, but yeah, okay.
It sounds boring to me as a video game.
It sounds shitty. Yeah, it just sounds shitty. So whatever.
Yeah. Apparently the sprite work is amazing though, but who cares? Whatever. That was dismissive. I just dismissed pixel artists everywhere.
Like every indie developer hates you right now.
Yeah.
Not only do you trash talk them as people, but their art.
Yeah. Anyway, so that I thought that was actually a valid point, and like the rebuttal to it was a little vague. Like it was just kind of like, like I respect that, but at the same time, we want video games like Gone Home to exist because Gone Home, Gone Home, Gone Home, Gone Home, Gone Home, The Last of Us, Gone Home.
Oh, I bet Meowth hates you right now.
No, this was not me. This was this panel. Like it was like, oh my gosh, that panel loved that game so damn much. Like it almost made me feel weirdly like. It was okay, you guys, but come on, but whatever. Like, I guess they identified it way more than I did. So yeah, it was kind of weird to see like that opinion dismissed almost out of hand. Like, it's just like, well, no, there's too many sexy women. We don't want sexy women anywhere because sexy women are too sexy and it makes us angry. I don't know.
I never understood that argument from people.
Right. Like, it's just like, is Christina Hendricks' character in Mad Men not a great character because she's a good-looking woman? No. What?
No, I mean,
Joan is interesting.
It has to be
well as...
in everything, I think. If you ask me, that's my professional opinion.
Right. For
must be
academic
cast
reasons,
in everything.
Christina Hendricks should be in more movies. Yes.
Wearing less.
Or in less movies.
No, wearing less.
That's hard to defend that. Right. Okay. Whatever. Okay. But I guess there's a character design in Metal Gear Solid 5 that is a very deliberately sex pot sniper lady.
Yeah.
Which seems totally consistent with Metal Gear as a thing, because in that first video game they made, there was a sexy sniper lady, except it was PlayStation 1, so you couldn't really tell that's what they were going for.
Sure.
Now we have better polygons, and the real vision can be realized, and that's no good. So he was kind of being called out for that. Where was this happening, though? Was this just on Twitter?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Great.
So
a great place for arguments to go down. This straw man that we just created.
As you hold up your cup of alcohol and take a sip, you fucking bastard. Exactly. All right. No, but like I even retweeted I even retweeted someone that was just like, "Hey, Kojima, this is what a real sniper looks like," or whatever, and it was just like a person in a ghillie suit.
Stop right now.
Yeah.
Did anyone? I'm assuming everyone has pointed out. Wait, Halo 4 was the one that made Cortana a sexy stripper lady, so fuck you guys.
Oh, no, for sure. Cortana before was just kind of like a voice in your head, and then like a blue robot lady because we need to...
No, like, Cortana in that game has been redesigned to be like...
No, in Halo 4, they redesigned her to have these like crazy stripper thighs and a giant booty. So it's like, yeah, nobody's complaining about that.
Like the multiplayer tuning team or something, it had nothing to do with that stuff. Like, that is the most hypocritical hypocrisy I've heard in a while.
But it's Halo 4, so you can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, you can. What? Oh, whatever. I thought the consensus basically, like, even from the Halo community, was like, yeah, this isn't as fun. This isn't as fun. Like, in our very chat earlier, it was like, yeah, it's not as fun as 3. The online?
No, but even people like were saying about like, why did they redesign Cortana to look like a stripper or to look like a big booty hoe? Like, it just makes no sense. She's a fake computer lady.
And that they're kind of developing this weird semi-romantic subplot between a fake computer lady and a
guy you've never seen the face of.
Yeah, it's just like, guys, you don't have a lot of feet to, like. That's specifically why these people calling out Hideo Kojima is extra hilarious. But, does Kojima need to evolve his kind of mentality around characters and whatever? I don't know. Like,
I think maybe, and I'll give you the reason why it bothers me a little bit.
But, okay, sorry, continue.
Snipers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have been known, and, like, people have reported and stuff, like, when they were snipers or stuff, that, like, they would just be by themselves for, like, a week straight, literally crawling through garbage and like dirt and thorns and everything.
Okay.
I don't think you would want to do that in a bikini top. I'm just saying. I don't think you would be wanting to crawl on your hands and knees for a week without clothing.
Okay, so you're just calling out that's just impractical. And
yeah, the impracticality of it is what annoys me the most, apparently.
Yeah, like, Sniper Wolf in the first game made no sense, because it's just like, dude, you're in Alaska, it's really cold, why would you zip down your snowsuit that far?
But then at the same time, she had a snowsuit at least. Like, I don't know, it was weird. Like, it was like she was an idiot, but she had the proper gear at least.
I guess I'm also just in light of your, like, standing alone in a, blind for 4 days as a sniper, who are you trying to impress? Like, it doesn't matter. Just wear a ghillie suit,
Well, and that's the thing, too. Like, that tweet I retweeted where it's like, this is what an actual female sniper looks like. You couldn't tell it was a female because she was in a full ghillie suit. She looked like a dude with the face paint and everything.
Right. Like, actual soldier. Like, yeah, right. I mean, really, though, Metal Gear is so derived from, like, James Bond movies and, like, super sensationalized fiction stuff that it's not trying to be realistic.
Of course.
So, like, yeah, if you're comparing it to what it's actually more similar to, which is, like, X-Men and James Bond, it's like, oh, yeah, this is just as sexist as those things, so whatever, like I guess you could call like more stuff out. Like it's just like, yeah, wait, why don't they redraw the X-Men characters to be more realistically proportioned? And why is James Bond still being all, womanized and whatever? Get him out of here. Like,
Sure.
okay, but I don't know. It just seems weird to kind of highlight a specific thing. But maybe this is a cultural virus. Maybe it's spread too far. We've gotten too dismissive of all this stuff, and it's no good. But I don't know. They
Not really.
if they redesign Cortana, then they have earned the permission to start calling people out. But
Sure.
as of right now, I'm gonna shake my bottle at you.
I'm gonna shake my empty wine bottle at you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to peel off this part of it because I don't know, it bothers me.
Yeah.
But
Which
okay,
means that you're getting a little toasted right now. If something that small is bothering you.
This is important. But okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, just Metal Gear Solid. Let's talk about the RoboCop trailer.
Which is basically Metal Gear Solid, right?
No. What do you mean?
Because they're just making another RoboCop when there doesn't need to be one, just like Metal Gear Solid.
Okay, I actually haven't I haven't seen the full like disintegration of RoboCop into total shit.
Sure.
Apparently, the third movie was garbage.
I didn't see it either because people said it was so bad. Why would I waste time with it?
Yeah, it's PG-13. They recast him, all this stuff, and then they also put in, I guess, like there was a TV series or something at some point. Oh,
Mario 64 Mario has it right. Robo Flop is more like it.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I saw the trailer, like, I'm kind of down for weird, remakes of stuff because maybe they got it wrong the last time. I don't know. RoboCop was okay, but it's been 26 years. Maybe they could
You
do
even
it.
said the Total Recall remake was terrible. I'm just gonna put
I
that
didn't
out
say it
there.
was terrible.
You did.
Did I? I thought I said it was like kind of bland and underwhelming.
Well, you said it was a waste of time or something like that.
Basically, like I forgot what I saw like 3 hours later. Like, yeah, it's totally unnecessary. But again, I wanted to believe it could be true. And like the one time it went good was that Dread remake. Like the Dread movie was actually great. So
But was it a remake? It was more like just Adventures in the Life of Dread.
Yeah, they actually made a Dread comic book movie
Sure.
as opposed to that 90s Stallone thing that was not.
I rewatched that actually shortly after watching Dread. I think we talked about it on the podcast. It's terrible.
It's pretty terrible.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
His name's Joe.
Joe Dredd?
Isn't it? Joseph or something?
Maybe. I don't remember that.
Joe Dredd.
Joe Dredd. Judge Joe Dredd.
Just rolls right off the tongue. Judge Joe Dredd.
Judge Joe Brown. Like, that's terrible. Okay. Yes, that was a one time where it went well. So I guess I'm always kind of optimistic. Maybe this sci-fi rekindling could actually work out. Maybe that new Riddick movie's good. I don't know. I'll find out. But something about this trailer I thought it just looked bad, and I hope it's not. Like, is it PG-13? Did they go full R? Because it needs to be. Like, that Verhoeven movie's so violent, they just need to go crazy with it, or else why are you making a RoboCop thing?
Yeah.
And maybe that's why. Like, maybe it's because it's like this preview is safe for all audiences. Like, it's kind of muting the tone of that movie because it just looked really boring. And the main guy I just was not getting a good vibe off of. That said, I didn't really like Peter Weller ever in anything because he's like the world's second most boring man. But
who's the first?
Gabriel Byrne.
You know what? I probably agree with you. Like, that name never pops up in my mind for everything, so he must automatically be the most boring.
He's really boring. Like, I don't know how some of these people...
Like End of Days, that was him, right?
Yeah.
Satan?
Yeah, he's Satan.
Didn't he have a threesome, though? With, like, a daughter and her mother?
Probably it sounds like something Satan would do, but...
Quick hit, Nathan. Have you ever had a threesome? Go.
No.
Will you? Or would you?
There's plenty of time left.
I'm not inviting you to anything. I'm just saying, would you?
Sure.
Okay. I wouldn't, and the reason for that is because I don't know that I could perform up to standards that it takes. Like, I don't know if I can for one person, let alone two.
Fair enough. Now, sounds like quite the task, but maybe eventually
it's making me tired just thinking about it. Kind of.
Okay.
Like, I'm ready for sleep right now, and I didn't even finish yet. So.
Okay. Can we at least finish these topics? Or...
Absolutely. So yeah,
Okay.
RoboCop remake, I guess, is what we were going on. I don't care. Just period. I will see it though, probably. Because why not?
I like that Evil Dead remake. Okay, that was okay,
It was
right?
okay. It was okay. You're right.
So yeah, I'm not, quite done with it, but at the same time, like something about the redesign too. It's like, hey, we need a black costume this time. It's just like this just looks bad. It doesn't look distinctive somehow.
Just
It's
bring
just like
RoboCop back. Like, what's
the
so
dude
hard
in
about
black
that?
armor with the weird helmet. I don't know. I was nothing I saw in the trailer had me that keen on it. And who's the director? It's like some Spanish guy who made some movie.
Yeah. I mean,
And
Spanish people make a lot of movies. I'm sure we never see, so whatever. It doesn't matter.
yeah, I don't know. He doesn't have much track
We're
record.
calling you out, Spain and Mexico. Start making good movies, I guess.
Yeah, man, I am kind of nervous about Gravity.
I don't
People are
even know what
saying,
that is.
okay, it's the director of Children of Men and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban
Okay.
and Little Princess. If you go
I
back,
have seen Children of Men. It's a good movie.
yeah, I thought it was a good movie. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of, oh, the guy who made that movie is making a new movie.
Mm.
Okay, all the trailers have been like this. I don't know. Like I like Outer Space. I like George Clooney. I don't really like Sandra Bullock, but okay. But the movie just looks like, all right, this is open water in space. I guess that's enough for a movie, but it promises kind of like sweeping vistas of space and kind of just people floating around in space and talking about stuff and whatever. But I don't know, something about it is just like this is the wrong tone I want in a space movie because there's already not enough space exploration going on in humanity right now. So why would you scare people about space? People are already scared of space.
Are you scared of space?
No, I want to go there.
I wouldn't. I don't think there's anything to do out there, honestly.
But there's new stuff. We need to get off of this planet, dude. It's going to blow up.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, talk to me in like 50 years when we create like a Mass Effect machine that can jump us to stuff. Sure.
Okay.
Not when like I'm going to spend 5 years of my life getting to the moon or something, you know what I mean? Where I'm just like, I'm going to go to Mars.
We need to
Whatever.
start experimenting with that stuff more, I feel,
They
like
should. No,
it's just like
absolutely. And when they get to the point where we could jump across solar systems, I'm there. Until then, I don't want to see Earth from like a higher orbit. I just want to see other stuff.
I guess. I just kind of feel like that's something I feel humanity needs to work towards at some point. Like that's kind of the next big step.
Oh, dude, they should have been this whole time. I don't know why NASA doesn't get as much funding as they do.
I know. It's been really weirdly frustrating seeing just like growing up when you're like 10 or 11, people are like, oh yeah, we're going to be going to Mars. We're going to make a bunch of bad movies with Val Kilmer and Gary Sinise about going to Mars. And then that just never happened.
What movie were you talking about in specific?
I was talking about Red Planet and Mission to Mars, which came out like the same year.
Okay. Because I was thinking when you said Mars, automatically Ghosts of Mars.
I own that movie. That's an important.
Is it? I actually haven't seen it since it came out.
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
I guess if we want to briefly talk about John Carpenter, I watched John Carpenter's Vampires recently.
It's so bad.
It's not very good.
But you know what? There is like an earnesty to it that I actually appreciate.
It has some okay ideas. Like it's just like, oh man, there's a whole conspiracy about vampires that the Catholic Church is in on. They know where they are, but they're kind of down with that, and that's not cool. Like I don't know. Yeah, and there's like this weird super vampire that they're trying to stop, and he just like murders everybody. It was okay for like 20 minutes, and then it became kind of a background movie while I did other stuff.
I find
Yeah.
there's a lot of background movies that are fantastic.
No, finding a great background movie is Netflix is awesome.
It's kind of important, I would think.
It's just like, well, I don't want to watch this, but I wouldn't mind if it's just on. So it's like, yeah, like that 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 kind of movie where it's just like kind of going on and you're not really paying attention, but periodically you can look at it and be like, yeah, all right, this is kind of cool.
I'm being asked from the chat for you to talk about how you're secretly racist against dinosaurs and vampires. I don't know how this came up, but I'm pretty sure you are a racist in general, so discuss.
Well, like my appearance right now looks a little sketchy, so I can kind of see why someone would feel
Are you
that way.
racist against vampires? I kind of am after Twilight because I don't think they should be on the same bus or in the same restaurants as me.
I am less fatigued about vampires than I like. I mean, it's become cliche talking about how cliche it is, but zombies have gotten kind of tiresome for me.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, mainly because they have no charisma or personality at all. Like,
Did
I
you
can
see
still
Warm Bodies?
No, I just didn't care.
Okay, it's kind of okay against what you're talking about because the idea of it is like there's still a human being and a human mind and spirit and stuff behind this like shell of a creature that can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, I like that idea quite a bit.
Sorry, I'm just reading alarming things in the chat. But okay, Warm Bodies, I guess, but that's been explored too, hasn't it? Like, didn't Romero kind of toy with that in Day of the Dead with, like, that Bob zombie? Like, is he still human?
Not as much as this. Imagine Day of the Dead where Bub or whatever is the main character and you can hear his inner monologue.
Yeah.
So there's that, I guess.
Sorry, just addressing controversy.
Controversies need to be addressed.
Yeah, it's about stretch marks, which I maintain are really freaky if you get them wrong.
Do you have like things that freak me out segment of the week thing?
Nothing new, I don't think.
Nothing new.
Yeah, nothing new has bubbled up that's like, ugh,
well,
I don't like that.
Maybe we can find something as we talk. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. Like, Warm Bodies does a kind of decent job with that idea.
Was it funny, though?
No. I mean,
okay.
Like, they go for it, but I don't find a lot of things that are quoted as being comedies funny.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, maybe
it's
just because the word comedy, like, as a genre or whatever, has just been overused. I like dark comedies, and I like when, like, things are so weird and, like, blatantly dumb that they're funny. I like those, but I don't like things that are just, like, have silly lines in them, because I don't find those funny.
Okay. I guess just briefly on that, have you ever seen The Odd Couple?
Yeah, you're talking about, like, Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau?
Yeah. Do you find that funny?
I don't remember. I haven't seen it in years and years right now. Just
I started watching it on Netflix, and I was just like, man, this is just not funny at all. Like, this is just sad. Like, legitimately just depressing. Like, in a way I was not amused by. But, like, ostensibly that movie's a comedy.
Sure.
But
I remember those two just having really good chemistry with each other, though.
Right, but kind of like ripping each other apart in a way that's just like, ugh, why is this guy being so mean?
Like in a Lethal Weapon sort of way?
But way, like, just kind of, low blows, I felt. Like, when I was a kid, I was just like, okay, I heard this was a popular classic movie, I'm going to check it out. And I was like 12 or something, and I was just like, this is not funny. And I just grew up, like, kind of like, well, I probably just didn't get it or whatever. And then I was watching it again, it's just like, I still don't find this funny. This is just kind of, like, really depressing. Like, Jack Lemmon is too sad for it to be like, oh, I get it. He couldn't commit suicide because he pulled his back while he was opening the window. It's just like, oh, no, that's a terrible joke. It's a really bad joke. I don't know. It was, yeah, like, what are you doing, Neil? Like, is it Neil Simon?
I don't know. Right? Sure.
No, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, classic movies, man. Some of them, I don't know how that happened. Like, it was just weird to me to think there was a time in history in, like, the late 60s where comedy that dark was, like, really popular, because it was, like, the fourth highest grossing movie that year. It's just like, all right, weird. Times have changed. Like, nobody wants to think that seriously about something like that or whatever. I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, old movies. Some of them aren't great.
Go figure, right?
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation before. Casablanca.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, even at the time, I'm sure people didn't think so, because 50 years from now, the movies that we thought were terrible will probably still be terrible.
Oh, I wonder if, like, 50 years from now, the movies we thought were great, it's just like, what the hell? Why did anyone ever like Superbad? what? What? You know,
So, are
maybe.
you suggesting that like people's opinion of what's funny in like our culture changes over time
Oh, it's probably super relative to
to the
the.
times and what's yeah?
Yeah, so
Because I
it's like.
mean, if we were more evolved, like say Britain or all any of Europe, really, like sex jokes wouldn't be funny because that's
Mhm.
just a thing that they don't like make controversial over there at all.
Right.
So maybe
Actually,
maybe we should all be more like Britain, I guess is what I'm saying. That's not true because I hate British people. So
why do you
there you
hate?
go. No, I don't actually hate them. I just hate dealing with them on the phone.
Oh,
They're assholes
when does that happen ever?
all the
What?
time. I work for British Airways.
Oh, I get it. I didn't know that, so
Yeah.
that makes. Hey guys, guess what?
What?
It's monocle time again.
Oh, there you go. So you got a job.
I did. That's kind of been a weird thing because like I got hired at one place and then upon returning home from PAX, I got an interview and now I'm kind of in this point where I think I'm going to be hired somewhere else. So what is the correct etiquette for the other job?
Do
Do
we
I want to say
discuss what jobs they are? One of them's a theater,
one of them's at the movie theater.
and the
I guess I
other.
could say that. And the other one is at a bookstore like I was kind of wanting for
Sure.
a long time.
Well, which one
Uh,
do you want?
I want the bookstore one.
Well, then you ditch the theater. Period.
Right. I know, but like I still feel kind of like, well, should I even be going to the training because I don't know yet, right? Like I'm kind of in this limbo zone where it's like that second interview went really well.
Oh, you didn't get the job then. They just called you back saying we want to pursue this maybe.
Well, I got a second interview and then after the interview there was kind of like so when will I know? Well, but I can't say that, but and we're going to email you on Monday. So,
So what you do is you go to your training
yeah,
for the
that's what I've
theater.
been doing.
No, you have to go to your training for the theater because you've already made the commitment. You
Right. But
find
now
out
that
what's going on, then you make the decision, and then whichever one you don't want, you call them and say, "Listen, I'm really sorry. Thank you for your time, but something else has come up, and I hope we have like contact in the future or something like some just random PR bullshit."
Okay, so there's a polite way to do this. It's not like, wait a minute, you were learning about our behind the scenes and you got a code,
No,
whatever.
absolutely. Like, have you never turned a job down before?
N- Uh, no, not
Oh,
really.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, like it's weird. In previous times, I would kind of just snipe at stuff. Like I'd just be like, I want to work here, apply here. No, okay, apply here.
Okay, so now you got
Yeah,
to think
done.
to yourself though,
Yeah,
which place would you prefer benefits for? Because I know you see a lot of movies,
yeah.
so you would get first access to some movies if you like got to run the projector or whatever. You'd get to watch them for free, or you
Mhm.
would at least get discount.
Yeah.
So is that not as important as maybe having a job that doesn't suck balls? Because I heard theater jobs are kind of terrible.
It seems like well, I don't know in which capacity I'm gonna be there, but yeah, it seems like there's a decent chance
I've
it'll.
known a few people that have worked in theaters,
Yeah.
and like when you join, you don't join as like a front, like a box office clerk or like a snack bar clerk or any of that stuff. You just join as part of the team as they throw you wherever you're needed at that moment.
So you could one night be doing that,
You
but
could
then
be doing popcorn all fucking
yourself.
night and then have to like brush or mop up the theater. I'm drinking too much. The theater
Okay.
floors after that.
Okay.
So like
Um,
you might
well,
get
that
like
in
shit
the
jobs, but you
in
might
the
also
training manual, like that, there was like, here's how you clean up vomit. Like you can expect some bad stuff to happen. Here's how not to get burned by the popcorn machine.
I
Like,
remember reading a Reddit article where it's just like I work in a theater and found this in the bathroom or whatever, and it was a bathroom stall covered in blood
God, that
because
sounds
like some
horrible.
guy puked up all of like his innards in a bathroom stall and then walked out.
That's not supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen. So then like people were just like, whatever you do, don't touch it or whatever. He's like, oh shit, I already cleaned it all or whatever because that's his job. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, you can't do that. You have to like call in special people and stuff because there might be like contamination in the blood and shit. And he was freaking out.
That's horrible. That sounds terrible.
It was the
So,
best Reddit thread I've ever read.
okay.
Because it's just like this person posts this thing that happened with a picture, and then it just gradually turns into him freaking out, thinking that he's dying.
Yeah, it's like, you need to go to a doctor, bro. Like, seriously, leave right now. It's just like, what? What are you talking about?
It's watching somebody's like personality just get torn at the seams, where they're like thinking they're gonna die in the end, sort of thing. It's perfect. It's the best thing.
That sounds morbid, but okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like kind of strange to be at this point where, you know, your life could literally go left or right, and you're just like, well, I don't know. This one has a longer commute, but this one, you know, is really, you know, convenient, and I'm already there. But
The bookstore is convenient.
no, the bookstore is not convenient, but it's something I want to do more.
I think it would make you happier, probably. For one thing, it
Yeah,
would be quieter.
It's a lot quieter.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Like that theater, apparently, especially because they want you to work there on the busiest days, so it would just be chaos.
And I've actually worked in a library before, and that's a decent job.
Okay.
It's
You were a librarian?
not a librarian. I was like an assistant or whatever, so I spent a lot of time just basically shelving books, helping people find what they wanted, because like back when everything was books, I knew the Dewey Decimal System because my mother was a librarian, so I knew it quite well. And I got a job volunteering when I was like 13 years old because I was the only 13-year-old that came in there knowing the Dewey Decimal System inside and out and like how to find stuff. So I would help them out and basically tape up magazines and stock shelves and stuff. And it was fine. Like it was basic, just walking around with a book cart and like putting books away for a couple hours every day. It's a totally
okay.
serviceable job. Like I honestly I wouldn't mind doing that again, but I don't think they pay exceptionally well at like a library because libraries are kind of dying with the internet.
Right. And I'm not sure what their current state is, but with the floods and stuff downtown, like they were in kind of trouble locally anyway.
Mm.
I did apply at a library too, but never heard anything back. So
It seems like it might be hard to get a job there too, because since
yeah,
like the internet is a thing, they probably just want to hire a certain type of person that isn't
I was like,
necessarily maybe looking for money to live on. Or
well, I was
something.
just like, hey, English degree, books, and there's like Stonewall, nothing, didn't hear anything. You're just like,
They
okay,
just
well,
basically gave you the middle finger and told you to leave.
but without even being that direct about it, like it was just, yeah, it hurt a little bit,
Yeah. Have you ever been fired from a job?
Not exactly. More so like
Let go.
the let go. Yeah,
Yeah,
like, just
yeah, yeah.
like this position doesn't exist anymore, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Was it something I did? It's just like, no, it's just the board decided without you there that this is not needed, and you're just like, oh well,
That was your last job, actually.
yeah, it was. That was awesome.
Right around the time that you were getting kicked out of your house and had parking fines for parking on the street and everything. Oh,
Yeah.
and the flood, maybe?
Yeah, remember that?
That was
great
so
time
good.
8 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, things are starting to come together. It's okay. It's nice to be like there was definitely a brief period in like August where it's just like, am I like not employable somehow? What happened? It's just like, oh, okay, good. I just was being too choosy or something. It's like,
Also,
well, I could choose multiple jobs, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Like there was one actually I just straight up just dismissed out of hand because I was just like, this sounds like I wouldn't enjoy it at all. It was I guess I can say, right? It's not like I signed an NDA or something. Value Village.
Oh
It,
my god. Yeah, there's
yeah.
no way I would work there.
It was basically the reason I chose it is because there was a night where I was like, man, I need a job. Like we were about to leave.
Okay,
for
so you were watching Storage Wars a whole lot.
no,
Or
no.
what's that pawn shop one? You know which one I'm talking about?
Pawn Stars?
What?
I mean, Pawn Stars?
Pawn Stars, yeah. So you were watching
Okay.
Pawn Stars and just like, I gotta work in a place where people basically throw their garbage away and see if there's any treasures.
No, no, no. The reason I gravitated to them was basically I was just going through Kijiji, and there was like I just saw that this Halloween store was hiring, and I thought it was hilarious because I was like, "Wow, what a short-sighted job to have!" Because it is
Is that
just a
the one in
seasonal
Sunridge
store. It
that used to be
exists.
an A&B Sound?
No, I didn't work at EMB Sound.
No,
What?
was it the Halloween store that popped up where the
Oh,
A&B Sound used to be?
I don't know. I think there's one on McLeod that just appears periodically
There's
for a
one at
couple months.
Sunridge as well, and Cross Iron Mills.
No, there's a bunch of them. It's a weird business that I don't know how it's sustainable at all, but it exists for like 2 months before Halloween and then disappears. So I was like, well, whatever. That would be like at least a thing, and I would legitimately think it was hilarious. So I'd probably be in a good mood there or whatever. Um, so I replied to that and got nothing, like no replies. So it's just like, what? Okay. Should I not have said it sounds fun? Like, does that sound, oh no, we take Halloween very seriously. Come
Yeah.
on.
There's nothing fun about Halloween, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, this is a serious business. We need to get sales. You need to sell this many masks every day or something. It's just like, oh, okay. I don't know. But then I was like, wait, who else has Halloween stuff? Well, Value Village, they're hiring temp Halloween staff. So I'll be a Halloween guy at Value Village for like 2 months.
Sure.
And that'll at least like pay the bills for now, and I'll keep looking for something. But then when they replied with was basically like, oh no, we can have you like full time, but in like the sorting room. And I was like, well, hey, weird stuff coming in. Like I get to kind of comb through Calgary's weird stuff firsthand. That could be fun. But it quickly became apparent, like it's just like, oh, this is not going to be fun at all. Like this is like really like a strict quota of stuff. You need to just be shuffling stuff through, like looking through stuff. Like it just looked like a factory, and like a really weird, depressing factory because it's full of like everyone's former possessions. I don't know. It looked strange. I feel bad like looking someone in the eye and saying like I don't want to do what you do. Like that seems
Why?
kind of it feels judgmental to me. Like it's
But
just
you're
like
judgmental.
right, but not like that bluntly to someone's face. Like it's just like I don't want your life. That seems sad. You've like that
When
just
you
seems
said
sad.
that, I thought James Vanderbeek in Varsity Blues.
I've never seen that movie, so I
He literally says that exact line to like his father, where he's just like, "I don't want your life," in this terrible accent.
well, there you go. See, I didn't want to do that to somebody. And yeah, like it would have been reasonably close and all this stuff. It just didn't seem like I knew, even though they were offering me all these hours and stuff, I would be like totally upset with that job in like a month. So it wasn't worth it. And I'm glad I waited because it actually worked out. But yeah.
You have a horseshoe up your ass sometimes too.
What does that mean? Lucky?
How like shit just works out. It's like, well, I could have got this job that I would have hated my life for because I need to pay bills, but luckily this thing I kind of want to do came along.
Yeah.
But-
That was really, I was not expecting that to pan out quite like that. Like, yeah, it was as we were, like, we just got cell reception back a couple hours earlier and we got the phone call. I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'll do that. King Cat. So, for the audio version, that'll make no sense at all, but I am a cat with a crown. Metaphorically and literally.
Both. You are a cat. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a crown in real life as well.
Mm-hmm.
A cat with a crown.
Let's move on to, I don't know.
You were reading books.
I was reading books. I was listening to audiobooks, which is something I haven't done.
It's actually kind of cool. It's like listening
Really
to a
like it.
podcast.
It's like listening to a podcast, but it's like really direct and personal.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like just, hey, this guy is talking to you. You're just like, oh, yeah, no, tell me a story, Stephen King.
You know
And he
Ethan
did.
Hawke?
Yeah.
He's a good reader. Like, he's a good person for those. I can't remember which one he did now. The Slaughterhouse-5, I think.
Oh, weird. Okay.
He's really good narrator. It's weird.
Cool. I don't know which actors have done this, but for me, it was actually, hey, I got it right here. I was Stephen King's On Writing. I got it on CD, so I imported all of those and then put it on my iPod.
You know an easier way to do this?
What?
Audacity.com. who I
Audacity
think
or Audible?
Audible. Audacity is the program I use to cut this podcast. Audible.com. We should be getting sponsored, I think, because you're
Yeah.
like all about the audiobooks now.
Yeah, it's my first one I've actually listened to, but I really liked it. It's some pretty cool insight into his career and also just like writing practices and whatever, and then some cool behind the scenes stuff on specific books too. So like he talks about Misery a lot in that one, so then I started reading Misery, and I'm partway through that. I like that story. I've seen the movie before, but now I'm kind of seeing how they differ and stuff.
Sure.
And kind of at the end of it all, I think I'm going to watch the movie again. Because yeah, I don't know. That was a solid adaptation. Good job, Rob Reiner. You did good.
Fuck Rob Reiner.
What? Stand By Me was good too.
Actually, it was pretty good. You watched that recently, didn't you?
Yeah, me and Brittany watched it.
It was okay.
And A Few Good Men. That was a movie. That has nothing to do with Stephen King, though.
No, but
Jack
it does have something to do with Jack Nicholson, who we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Right, who retired from acting, just as we predicted.
Because he's going crazy
So,
or whatever. No, he's
there you
getting
go.
forgetful. He's going
Called it.
senile.
Because yeah, he was done.
Yeah. He's
How Do You
done.
Know was his last movie, which is maybe too bad, but oh well. Oh, and I watched Hoffa, which was a completely forgettable biopic about James Hoffa.
Most
but that
biopics are completely forgettable.
Yeah, this one was like directed by Danny DeVito, but it was like hyper dramatic in a way that was just like, this story isn't as interesting as this music thinks it is. I don't really care, but okay. There was like a moment or two where I was like, oh, that's some good yelling courtesy of Jack Nicholson, but I was not interested from minute to minute for the whole thing. David Mamet wrote it, and initially I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing, but then I was kind of thinking through. It's like, oh, David Mamet's been in a lot of kind of lame movies, like writing wise. Glengarry Glen Ross is a good example, but I don't know. There's been some kind of stuff along the way, like Spartan. Does anyone care about that movie?
No.
Yeah. Red State. No, wait, Red State was somebody else. Red? What is that movie?
Red?
It was about MMA.
Oh.
Tim Allen's in it. I don't know.
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Whatever.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. David Mamet, playwright / screenwriter.
What's your opinion on drug dealers? Since we're talking about Tim Allen.
Right. What? What does that have to do with
There
Tim
was some
Allen?
controversy back in the day. I'm pretty sure it was just a rumor where he was selling, like, coke to kids.
Oh, no, that was an episode of Home Improvement where one of his kids bought marijuana, and it was, like, really sketchy.
I really actually liked that show.
No, that's fine.
It was okay.
Yeah, I grew up watching that a lot. Okay. Drug dealers, well, according to the show I watch, Breaking Bad, they're super badass, and you should be one. I think is what that shows.
Right, I guess what we're saying is that if you're not a drug dealer, you're not doing life right.
Yeah, like, you get stacks of money, you can play everyone like a chump, and you finally get to flex your intellect, you know? Like, it's really the best way to go. Jokes, I think, but that show, it's fun. It's just kind of weird. He blows up that car, and then the Knife Party song, I
like Knife Party. I don't know what song you're talking about. It might be like their worst one, but I kind of enjoy them.
I think it was Bonfire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bonfire.
I like Knife Party too, but it's just a weird fit. It was a weird moment.
Speaking of Bonfire.
Yeah.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah?
I watched a little bit more Community Season 4 because it's on Netflix now.
How was that?
It's terrible.
Pretty bad.
That show was really bad now. What happened? Like, all of the comedy that they used to have, the very subtle comedy, is gone. Like, it's just gone.
I know. It's like they just turned the degrees a little too far, and it's just like, yeah, you ruined the balance. It is off now, and I can tell, and it's really bothering me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We made it to just before the puppet episode, and then we're just like...
Dude, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about right now, because I stopped again.
Okay.
So, puppets. There's a puppet episode.
There's apparently a puppet episode. I didn't ever watch it, because it was like... just sitting there staring at a show for 20 minutes, not laughing.
Yeah.
There's a crazy puppet episode in 1,000 different ways. I guess we'll just not bother then.
No.
And yeah, I don't know. Like there's a group of people on the community subreddit that are like really defensive about season 4. They're just like, hey, come on, they saved the show. Like the show wouldn't exist if it wasn't for those guys and whatever. It's just like you're just being an apologist, man. Just it was bad.
There's a subreddit for Community.
Yeah, it was a pretty popular subreddit for a long time too.
That has to be the saddest subreddit right now.
Like in this, well, I mean, they're pretty happy now because Dan Harmon's back. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, there was a weird period there where it's just like, I'm just not gonna go here anymore because it's like, hey, remember when the show was cool? Yeah, those are good times. And then I don't know, it got pretty negative. Or you know, hey, look who I ran into at the mall, and it's like Danny Pudi or something. And it's like, okay, that's. Yeah, Community, it's coming back. Looking forward to watch season 5 because that's how.
You're breaking up quite a bit.
Does leaning in help?
How drunk are you to think that leaning in would help your internet connection?
I'm not. I'm just being goofy because it's the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna change my outfit again. All right. Community, TV shows, Breaking Bad. It's almost over. I can't talk about it though because you haven't seen all of it.
Right.
Um,
Is it great?
It's okay.
People are actually freaking out about it on Twitter. They're pretty happy.
Yeah, no, there's some neat stuff happening. There's some things coming to a head as they're supposed to in the final season. So that's cool. But hey, how did you feel about Pain and Gain? The
Okay.
Mark Wahlberg, Michael Bay classic.
So let me tell you about Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
The movie I dismissed because I don't like Mark Wahlberg. I love The Rock, but I also don't like Michael Bay, and I think the idea of a story of bodybuilders kidnapping a dude is retarded.
It really happened though.
That movie's really good.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I thought it was really fun. It was just
It is really fun. Like the way they go between the inner monologues of like a whole bunch of the characters and stuff as they show up.
Yeah, my name's Daniel Lugo, and I believe in fitness.
The visual style in general is great. Mark Wahlberg is cast perfectly for what he is good at, which is playing the dumbass.
Yeah, like just kind of stumbling into stuff. Like it really reminded me of Dirk Diggler from
And
Boogie.
The Rock being the guy that's like the born-again Christian that takes shit from everybody is so good. Oh my god. There's a guy that's like a fucking tank just taking shit from like Mark Wahlberg. It's perfect.
And there's like just some great dumb stuff. Like it's just like them walking in slow motion down the boardwalk, and he's got like a Bart Simpson skateboard or something. Or it's like whatever. Sure.
It's so good. Yeah, it is actually genuinely good. I'm sorry I doubted you, but I don't agree with you a lot of times about shit like this.
Oh yeah, like it's just like Spring Breakers is hilarious, and it's like that movie's so self-serious and stupid. And okay.
Why did you bring that up? Now I'm down again. Actually, that's not true because I've had way too much to drink. But anyways, let me tell you more about Pain and Gain.
Okay.
It's about bodybuilders. But that's not really what it's about. That's just kind of the background thing. And I was sure from like the way they were doing the trailers and people talking about it that was kind of like a core subject, and it really kind of isn't.
Them bodybuilding? No, it switches to crime pretty quickly.
Which is great. Like that. Yeah. If it was more about bodybuilding, it would have just been lame. Like it would have been fucking stupid.
Right, but just like that he goes to like a motivational seminar, and his conclusion is like, I should commit a crime.
With Chang.
Yeah, I should bully people and steal money. It's just like, okay, I don't think that's what he was going for, but
especially when he already like got in trouble for doing that before. Well, kind of. I mean, he was a con artist. He wasn't like a terrorist kind of where he just steals somebody and terrorizes them into signing their life away.
No, yeah, I did really like how the movie had a good amount of kind of self-aware of how ridiculous it was, like really pretty flagrantly. Like there's that one moment where they straight up say, I know this is crazy, but this actually happened. Like this is from crime files, you know? Like he was trying to barbecue human remains to destroy them.
We're going to have to get into something right now.
Okay.
Foxy the Kid in the chat right now says, I keep trying to figure out whether or not to purchase the Spring Breakers on Blu-ray. You shouldn't buy that movie at all, because it's fucking terrible.
Okay, that's just an uneducated opinion, so don't worry
Well,
about
I
it.
mean, that is the only opinion you should listen to, and I'll tell you why. Because
All
that
right.
movie is a boring piece of shit that takes itself way too seriously, and it
It
shouldn't.
also contains like the greatest James Franco performance he's ever done.
It
So,
contains the weirdest James Franco performance he's ever done.
i.e., greatest.
So if you are looking forward to just watching James Franco talk like a wigger for a long time and say spring break over and over again for about 15 minutes, then this is
sing
probably the
an
movie
amazing
for
Britney
you.
Spears song.
However, if you're looking for a movie that actually offers you anything more than just maybe a couple of attractive girls and then like a plot that doesn't make any sense, then you should probably, or make any sense at all rather, you should probably move away from that movie.
It's actually a brilliant analysis of the decadence of modern teenagers, but whatever.
Yeah, but modern teenagers are not something you should ever want to watch on Blu-ray.
All right. I really like that movie. I don't own it.
Vanessa
so,
Hudgens does not show her tits, so that is not a reason to buy that movie.
I guess that's true. Well, okay. I guess as I had some context for Harmony Korine stuff going into the movie,
Sure.
like this made way more sense to me than it does on the surface or whatever. Like usually makes movies where the characters just kind of wander through life and nothing happens.
Yep.
And that's what he does. So that this one had at least the framework of spring break is a thing and people cut loose and do stupid shit. That was more than enough of a container for the stuff to happen. That I was totally just fine with its kind of lazy plot or whatever. But yeah, that said, I don't own that movie. I don't know how much continual reward you'll get out of it. I just thought it was worth the 95 minutes or whatever of my time. So
let's say what we agree on for that movie, maybe.
James Franco's weird.
James Franco's weird. The visual style of that whole movie, the cinematography, is kind of great.
Mm-hmm.
Did
you like the pink unicorn ski masks? Because I thought those were hilarious.
I mean, sure, I guess. Okay. I mean, whatever, right? They're not there the whole time, so it's kind of not really a point to focus on if you're going to spend $20 on the movie.
Right. I guess, do you want to spend $20 to see hilarious spring break, Britney Spears music video?
Okay, but I'm going to say that it's not hilarious. This is where it fell off for me. Because it wasn't self-indulgent enough to go far enough to be hilarious for me, and it was too self-serious, but it wasn't a serious plot. So it was kind of middling in this limbo of nothingness that I felt I wasted my time with.
I didn't get the kind of, I guess the self-serious vibe. It seemed so goofy to me in its existence.
But yeah, you're right. No, it was goofy, but it didn't go far enough for it to make my time entertaining goofy. It was just kind of in the middle somewhere. Kind of like Kids was too, but Kids wasn't goofy. That movie was way too self-serious, I think, and they thought they had an important message, which I don't think they did, maybe, but...
Right, he wrote that movie, right?
I think so, yeah. That movie gets a lot of praise for some of the stuff it does, but I mean, the reason why it sticks in anybody's memory that's seen it is because dude rapes a girl with HIV.
Mm-hmm.
So it's big fucking deal. That's the reason for watching this movie. Go fuck yourself.
It's edgy, but
yeah.
Not. I don't know. I guess if you're really cynical about the youth of today, you might have a great time because you'll be like, yeah, these fucking kids, what are they doing? Whereas if you're nah, I'm optimistic about the future.
What if you are the youth of today, though?
Oh, this movie is making fun of you. I hope you understand that.
Okay.
That was actually one of the great things is because, it seemed we were in a theater where, some people were there expecting just, an actual cut-loose party movie. And then the movie basically flips them off in the first 10 minutes.
That's kind of funny.
Some of them left. So it's just oh, right, no. This is for a really narrow margin of people that are man, what is happening with kids today? And, yeah, if you want to be the old man yelling at people, that kind of thing, get off my lawn, this might work for you, but it might not. Because it's
we just pissed off some people in our chat because they're we are the youth of today. Fuck you.
Well, the movie hates you. I'm just saying.
We didn't make the movie.
I didn't make the movie.
And
I just
if
thought it was,
anything, I'm agreeing with you that it's a piece of shit movie. So I'm with you
Yeah.
guys.
yeah. Harmony Korine and James Franco, what are you guys doing? I don't know. It's
What
Yeah.
is the cutoff for youth of today? That's a good question. Like, probably freshly able to drink. So if you're in the U.S., 21 and under, maybe, and 18 and under if you're in Canada and stuff.
Right. I'm not really sure where it's like, well, this group of people will think completely differently than I did growing up. It'll be like a weird barrier, you know? Like, maybe it's just like, if you don't remember when your family got the internet, we're going to have a weird difference of how we grew up, you know?
Do you remember when you first got the internet, when you were introduced to this World
Absolutely,
Wide
yeah.
Web?
Like, I was 11, and like I kind of relate it to just like, well, that's probably like how my parents' generation, they got a TV after they were born. They weren't just born in a world with a TV,
Okay.
you know. So like they just become immediately acclimated to that being there, whereas if you didn't, you're not as comfortable with it. So it's like, yeah, like always communicating what you're doing all the time is like a thing we had to adjust to, whereas there's a group of people that were born like post 2000 or something.
Well, they
that
were
has
born
all
post Twitter, even.
some small, like 5-year-olds or something, but
I guess.
yeah, like like there are 8-year-olds today though that YouTube has existed their entire life, right?
Dude, YouTube didn't even exist before I graduated.
Yeah, like it's pretty new, really, but it's becoming older and older, right? So eventually it's just
Smartphones didn't even exist before I graduated.
yeah, like like it's kind of weird thinking back on like there is actually still like a window in pop culture that people who matter now won't remember. Like you're just like, oh no, yeah, like all those movies in the '90s. Like what are you talking about? The Scream movies. And you're just like, what is that? Why would I watch that? What's this old movie you're talking about? And you're just like, what? Like it's already starting to happen where you can feel old and out of touch. And I'm 26.
Dude, I started feeling old and out of touch when I was working in St. Albert in a Staples warehouse.
Okay.
And, like, everyone around me were like 16-year-old girls talking about prom. And I was just like, I've been out of school for years and I like smoke legally. Like I do this job to pay for like stuff I want. I'm not here for money for like alcohol when you turn 18 for prom.
Oh no, dude, that was like part of the weird thing with my orientation thing at the movie theater. Like it was like the person giving the orientation is almost 10 years younger than I am. This is weird. I shouldn't have this job. Like, it was just like, yeah, like that made it a whole lot easier to be like, I need to take that other one. Like this is, yeah, they'll be fine without me. Like it's almost sad that I'm here right now.
Yeah, I mean, like our chat's getting a little mad because we have a lot of people that are like 20 and under sort of thing right now with our discussion. But like on the opposite end, we feel like losers for like having jobs that like people have as their first job and they still have their full lives ahead of them.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like going back to the Staples story, it's like, no, these like 17 or 18-year-old girls, they're still going to go somewhere. Or, I mean, maybe they're going to just be total whores and like be gold diggers and find some rich guy to take care of them for the rest of their lives. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I'm still working in a fucking warehouse where this 16-year-old is telling me what to do.
Yeah. Like, it's just like...
And Nathan's internet died again. Hey.
Hey, Paul.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm back. The internet tripped again when the new computer was plugged in.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I just want to kind of like add another clarifying point to it, to the Spring Breakers thing.
Yeah.
Are we done? Are we past that? Well, just because like, I guess to add further kind of like generational distancing thing, the people that made it are like 40, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just kind of like the generation who's getting mad at the generation that we're, following or whatever, or like that we're just in front of. Like it's kind of, I don't know if part of it's like laughing at the old man who's yelling at the kids, you know?
I think you are the old man right now yelling at the kids.
But why? But I'm not.
Because you're the one that's just like, Spring Breakers is great because it makes fun of kids that are younger than me.
But that's hilarious. Like it's just weird that movie needs to exist or does exist, like, or that Skrillex is involved or whatever. Like it's just, I found it so weird that it was like, does Skrillex know? Like, is this movie making fun of it?
I will say one thing, and this is to everybody, like absolutely everybody that's younger than us or maybe even older or whatever, is that as you get to a point in your age, you start to actually hate a lot of the stuff the kids younger than you do.
Right.
So, I mean, at some point, you will be like, no, like, this generation is terrible, even though they're probably the exact same, only with more technology.
I guess I will say, like, there's a resentment that happens when you look at Rebecca Black's Twitter and see she has 1 million followers. And
dude, there's a resentment that happens because any girl on the internet ever can go onto Twitter and get 1 million more followers than I have.
Right. Like, it's just, I don't know. Why? Yeah. Like, there's a certain kind of... Hi, Brittany. Like... the talentless are still rising to the top because they're better at interneting or something, and you're just like, okay, like your skill set becomes obsolete almost immediately.
There's a resentment because people in high school right now going in their grad tests have a phone that can give them the internet and all the answers anytime. Right. And I still had to write shit on my hands if I wanted to cheat.
Right. Yeah, it's part of, like, you know, like studying is easier than ever. Like I'm actually really curious, like, what are schools like now? Or is there completely different lesson plans that kind of take that into account? Or is it still as old and crappy, you know?
Exactly. Like, so if you're in school right now, let us know at paulapixel-response.com, or you probably shouldn't be listening to this anyways because we're talking about terrible shit.
Well, like, honestly, do you have textbooks? Like, do they still do that? Like, why? Like,
I wouldn't. Like, I would just have my tablet with all my books or whatever downloaded onto it.
Kind of, yeah. Like, it's just like, well, none of this political stuff we're talking about in this textbook matters anymore because of this new development or whatever, or this new information. Or, you know, like, or do kids already have, like, the cynicism about the government because of, you know, they're hearing about Edward Snowden and the NSA and all this shit that's going on?
Sure. So, like, in social studies, there's an actual discussion going on about, like, politics, whereas for us, we were just kind of eating up whatever we heard in the textbook.
Well, yeah, just kind of getting propaganda in a sense. Like, it's just like, well, this is why the Cold War was, like, you know, cool, and we were on the right side.
Right, because we didn't have the Russian kid on Yahoo Answers giving us their point of view.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I just read this AMA yesterday with this guy, and you're just like, oh, crap. There's more information.
So maybe I'm more resentful because kids today are definitely smarter than I will ever be.
Well, like, yeah, they're getting information
from everywhere
all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's awesome. I mean, I have access to the same information, but I have, like, a shitty foundational understanding.
No, but dude, we have the access to everything they get.
Yeah.
But we weren't growing up with those in our prime years where we had to, like, learn stuff, where we were primed for learning, right?
Right. So the stuff we absorbed and as kind of our baseline is kind of compromised and questionable, so you're kind of always second guessing. Like, you're just like, well, is what I think on this issue actually, you know, a good opinion, or is it just that's what I got in grade 10 social studies?
Right. So, I mean, if the situation is Spring Breakers, then you're wrong. I guess is what we're getting at in the long form, is that Nathan's opinion in Spring Breakers doesn't matter because he no longer is a kid.
Well, also, I thought that trailer was really funny. So.
I don't remember the trailer, honestly.
Okay, it was like, it had that Skrillex song, so, yeah.
Which one? They all sound the same, and I don't know names, I guess, so it wouldn't matter.
Nice Sprites or whatever, the popular one.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Skrillex was also in Wreck-It Ralph.
It's true. Like, he was there on screen as a character, and also there was a remix of his.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I like Spring Breakers more than Wreck-It Ralph, though. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just going to shrink away.
I'm going to say particularly, like, I wouldn't watch either of them again, But I
Okay.
personally, I did have more fun with Wreck-It Ralph in the first time, and that's mainly because the twist or whatever I actually didn't see coming, which was a nice surprise.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Although again, maybe it's just like, I'm already a Nicolas Cage fan, so I have like this appetite for zany performances.
hmm
James Franco, I might go back and watch that. Maybe.
I
There's
think it
still,
might be important if we're going to talk about just James. Like, I think we both agree that the only reason you might watch Spring Breakers is because James Franco gives like the weirdest performance I think he'll ever give.
hopefully
Maybe.
not. I mean, fingers crossed that he'll
Sure.
figure out something else crazy.
James Franco also isn't in it for the first like 45 minutes or something. So like go into that knowing that he'll be in it eventually.
Okay, I guess so,
It
yeah.
spends a lot of time with the girls and I didn't care about any of them at all.
I don't know if you're supposed to, though.
I don't think you're supposed to, but then it's kind of weird that like this movie's making it so like I don't care about the main characters, that kind of triumph.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But I think they like cynically triumph, but I don't know. Maybe I'm overreading it. I'm seeing things I'm not
I think
supposed
you're
to.
overreading it, or
I
maybe
think it's
I'm
a brilliant
under.
art piece. It's, genius, subversive. I thought it was
I
fun.
can't take you seriously with this stupid Google Hangouts glasses.
Yeah.
You're just like genius, and just like your glasses are shaking on your head. Oh my god, the monocle jumped. You are no
Why do
longer the
you have
smart
the
one.
mustache and monocle now?
You're no longer the smart one.
Yeah, it just switched. Oh,
Oh, there you
oh,
go.
it started to track, but then it disappeared. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, that's all for Spring Breakers. I don't know what else to really say about that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna.
Zoolander's funny. I like that movie.
I played Diablo 3 again, and the reason for that is because I hated that game when it came out.
Yeah, is it better now?
Kinda, but I don't. I mean, it's still Diablo, so
Okay.
whatever. I just had more fun the night I played it because I streamed it, was talking to like a couple people, mainly which was Marshmello and random people that jumped in, and I was just kind of listening to music while I did it. So it was okay, I guess. It was more of an interactive experience with other people.
Okay.
But it was like the background movies we were talking about. It was the background game kind of.
Yeah, there's some games I've enjoyed in that way too, where it's just like, well, it's not great, but it's kind of a cool background activity. In some ways, Plants vs Zombies was one of them.
Two?
The first one, I didn't
Okay.
play the second one.
I didn't
because
play. I haven't played the second one because from what it sounds like, it's like you can't beat this level unless you pay money. And
No,
that's
it
gross.
sounds like the worst aspects of pay to play, and I am not interested in supporting that at all. So yeah, I deleted it. Yeah, but okay. Why? Okay, you're a Dota fan. That's been established.
Yeah.
Why were you experimenting with League of Legends this past week?
Okay.
Like, what was
So-
the draw there?
When you learn a lot of what can be learned about one thing that you like,
Mm-hmm.
you try to seek out other stuff like that to learn more. That's League of Legends for me because it's kind of the same game, only way easier with new
Okay.
heroes.
Oh, okay.
So it was fresh again.
Does
It was
this skill set I have apply in this field? Like,
and in
can
a way it does, but in another way it totally doesn't.
like you weren't immediately a rock star at League of Legends?
No, because it's way different. For one thing, there's no such thing as last hits, or denying creeps, I should say, which is a big thing in Dota because what you're doing is you're attacking your own creep and killing it so that the other player doesn't get as much money or experience from it.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't exist in League of Legends. It's just like you kill a creep for money. That's it. So you
So
don't
it's
have
a little simpler then? Is
yeah,
that...
you don't have to worry about denying. The towers can absolutely destroy you way earlier than they can in or for a longer time than they can in Dota, but they don't have as much reach and they aren't as smart, I guess, because like in League of Legends, they won't really attack you unless you attack a hero near them or unless like you're the last one standing, so you can just kind of run off. In Dota, they just kind of go wherever or whatever, but you can kind of game them too. League of Legends has a different kind of play style where, like, I don't know, there's just different types of characters and stuff, so it's learning that all again. And yes, you did give me the code, so thank you for that.
Also, it's the one League of Legends thing I can hold up to the camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But which one are you gonna main? I guess.
Oh,
Like,
Dota 2.
okay.
Because, I
Okay.
mean, it is the MOBA that's hard.
Ah,
So I
okay.
got to keep my feet in that. League of Legends is kind of like the fun pastime right now, where I'm just kind of playing with people against bots, or just like with people that are trying to teach me more about the different characters, but I kind of don't care about any of them. The
Mm,
main difference is that in Dota 2, a lot of the characters seem like, well, first of all, they're based off of Warcraft 3 models of different like enemies and shit like that, of
yeah.
heroes, but they seem a little bit less weird anime sexualized than in League of Legends, whereas like League of Legends will just have like the archer wearing nothing at all almost, and just that sort of stuff. So in a way, Dota 2 has a little bit more class maybe to it,
Okay.
but I'm not sure even if that's really fair, because it still has some weird shit going on for it too. But I also don't like how League of Legends is consistently changing their characters, like they're updating, so different characters are more powerful or less powerful, or they're changing stuff around, so you're basically learning the game every week. Whereas Dota 2, they give you all the characters and they'll change small things here and there, but they're not like just changing a whole bunch of stuff. Also, that's really distracting.
No, no, sorry. Isn't that kind of like a different way they do the like paid side of it though? Like, isn't League of Legends kind of constantly rotating characters? Kind of be like, hey, if you really like that guy, you could buy him.
Yeah, no, like every week you get, the thing I do like about League of Legends is you can play for free, and every week you get to choose some different characters to try out and see who you like before you pay money for them.
Yeah.
Whereas Dota 2, it's like you download the game, it's all free, you can play everyone at any time. The only difference is when you want to pay for something, you're paying for items,
Right. Like,
which
can
is
you?
completely aesthetic. It has nothing to do with the gameplay at all.
Yeah.
And I do like that better than League of Legends, where it's like,
Right.
well, I'm really good with this character, so now I have to buy him. I do like that, like, I'm really good with this character, thank God they're unlocked from the start, and I can use that anytime.
Right. Right. So the payment side of it is almost voluntary. Like, you're just like, I really like this game. Like, I like this weird color scheme that I can get or something, or this voice pack. Is that part of the paid stuff too?
Well, like announcer packs and stuff like that. I just turn the announcer off, though, because I just listen to music or podcasts when I play.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still kind of sussing out some of this stuff. Like, you were kind of asking me, like, when am I going to jump in on this? Like, honestly, just the fundamentals of it don't sound like things I want to do.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, like, I don't play, like, like, it stems from, like, Warcraft 3 stuff. Like, I didn't play that. I have no interest in that. Like, isometric slashing and attacking stuff, I just don't. Those aren't game mechanics I find interesting.
Fair enough.
And then, like, people talking about, like, comparisons to fighting games, like, I don't play those a lot either. So
I'll put it
the
this way, for,
that
like,
matters.
maybe I'll have my last word on this for, like, anybody that might be thinking about it, or, like,
Yeah.
any of that. If you're not willing to put in the time it takes to learn really how to play characters, or, like, how to play the game, don't bother. Because
Okay.
you're not going to have a good amount of fun in it unless you put in some motivation and time into some of the stuff. Just
Okay.
period. Like, you cannot pick it up and just, like, think that you're going to have a good time. You have to play a whole bunch of times with different people. You have to learn different things. You have to learn items you can buy against different characters. Then, like, when you get to that point, you can start playing online with other people and feel confident enough that you have fun in it.
Mhm.
If you're not willing to, let's just put a round number on it. If you're not willing to put at least 100 to 150 hours in of just learning the game, don't bother, because you're not going to have enough fun to to motivate yourself into it.
Okay. That's like a pretty high barrier.
It is high, but if you take into account that each game will probably last you 30 to like 60 minutes,
Yeah.
and you can play with friends, that time can go by really, really quickly.
So play 120 games, and then you'll know whether it's a thing for you or not.
I would say play at least 50 games with bots, and then try one game multiplayer with other people, and if you don't like it, you won't like it.
Okay.
It's just that simple. Like, it's one of those things that if you're not willing to put in time, you're not going to like it. That's it.
So it's like, playing guitar.
It's like doing
Like,
yeah, like if you're gonna think about like doing other stuff in real life, you could
yeah,
learn an instrument. You could probably maybe start learning another language. If
yeah.
like any of that sounds more compelling than playing a really badass like real time action based kind of RTS style like competitive game, then do that other thing instead.
Okay.
If you want to get into like a competitive scene where like you will consistently always be able to log in and find a game and have fun with and like for a couple hours at a time, then maybe like give it a shot. But if not, like I don't know, I guess I'm sick of people thinking that they can jump in and like jump in with somebody for like 3 games and learn the game. You can't do that. If you're not motivated to put in the time, don't bother.
Okay.
It's that simple. If you are willing to do that, then like there's many people out there, I'm one of them, that will help you learn stuff.
Hmm.
That's it. Like, and you will never have to pay to play Dota 2 specifically. So if you want a free game, that's kind of the trade-off where we're talking about like what matters more, time or money. Then like if money is a thing, then you should be playing games like this where it's free, but like you have to put in the time. If
Hmm.
money isn't the thing, then like just buy a $60 game and put in your hour and a half or 2 hours and have a good time with it. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Um, I guess. Sorry. Like, have you had negative voice chat experiences or anything, or has the community been
I guess
pretty?
that's another thing. If you don't have a thick skin, first of all, you shouldn't be on the internet, period.
Oh, okay.
But second of all, do not go into a MOBA when you're learning.
Oh, well,
Because
like you said, play a lot of bot matches first, but even then, like when you jump to human stuff, will you
if you're
probably
with
stand out?
friends, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because like there's a safe group there, you can play against bots and kind of like learn a little bit and then play against other people. Like your automatic chat is not to everybody, it's only to your allies, to your team. But you can also do like all chat sort of thing. And there will be shit talking. If like you jump into a random match, you will probably be called out for not being good. Just period. Like even people that are pros and make a mistake get called like faggots and stuff because they missed one last hit. Like it just happens. If you're not prepared to deal with that, don't do it.
Okay.
I see you shaking your head.
Well, I'm nodding, but
Yeah, nodding your head. Yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna play. Sorry.
that's
I'm
fair
not,
enough.
I don't have the
And you know what?
desire.
If you don't have the desire, I kind of don't want to play with you.
Yeah,
It's
I'd be a
that
bad
simple.
attitude in there. That'd
Yeah.
just be ruining the whole
Because
thing.
if you don't have the desire, then like why am I wasting my time trying to teach you this thing that takes hundreds of hours, right?
Right. Yeah. No,
If you
fair
do
enough.
have a desire, then it's like, no, for sure, I'll help you along on this path. But you're just like, nah, it's not for
No,
me.
this is probably dumb. It's
And-
probably a bad thing.
Honestly, it isn't for everybody.
Right. Gotcha. All right. That's all I had on the plate for discussion this week. So do we want to roll into the questions segment of the show? Pull the chat.
Yeah, let's pull the chat. I mean, I'll probably cut this part while we're waiting for questions out of the main audio, but
That's probably a polite thing to do.
yeah.
But
And
hey,
we'll
if you want to send us questions, stop by the live Twitch broadcast.
yeah,
Let's do
Twitch
it.
TV exposure. I'm gonna maybe change that. And like, do you have XSplit or anything you could stream on? Because I can give you a stream key so you could do it yourself too, on like a
Okay.
main Pixel Response channel. Would that
I
be
don't
something
have-
you're interested in?
Oh, like if I just want to broadcast some stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't have XSplit right now, but that's something I could look into doing at some point.
Well, I have a license you could use too.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. We'll talk about that off camera a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll wait to see if anybody has questions, and I'll keep drinking, even though it's probably not a good idea anymore.
Yeah, I stopped a bit ago. Oh, I'm still drinking, but it's Seagram's ginger ale available at your local Walmart. Yeah, in America, not here.
How was your week? Was it a good week?
I think so. I mean, kind of weird, like final limbo chapter before I have a job. But no, it was good. There's good stuff happening.
Okay. Because I've had a shitty week.
Do you want to
And I'm
elaborate?
going to tell you all about it.
Okay. Story
So,
time.
for anybody that feels like they might have somewhere they're going in life, you should probably keep on that track, because I'm going to tell you where you don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You do not want to be doing cargo logistics for multitude of airlines in a third-party warehouse. Because holy fucking shit. I am sick of people shipping their fucking animals overseas. I'm sick of people receiving their animals from the United States. And I'm just sick of dealing with fucking people and their fucking animals and the dipshits you have working in a warehouse.
What? Like, what's...
Which part do you want me to elaborate on first?
Okay, what kind of animals?
Okay, specifically pet cats and dogs.
Okay, so pretty vanilla pet animals. Okay.
I don't know how detailed I can get, because there's a lot of federal like warehousing stuff.
Yeah.
There's different airlines and stuff, so I don't know how far I can get into stuff. Basically, if you want to ship an animal to, let's say, London, just be prepared to pay like $1,500 to $2,000, because that's how much it costs, and don't fucking bitch to me when I try to charge you it.
Okay.
Yeah. When you have an animal come in, don't just expect that you're going to have to go to Canada Customs if you're in Canada, and you're going to have to get the paperwork cleared, because that's what it fucking takes, and you're going to need to show me ID. So go fuck yourself if you don't have ID. Why are you driving without a driver's license? What the fuck is wrong with you, first of all?
Aren't international travelers carrying passports or what?
Well, they're not usually international travelers. They have friends, family, or like breeders in the States that send them up here.
Okay.
And they just live here. And for some reason, they're driving without photo ID, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And more
That's kinda
importantly, do not bitch at the person handling your live animal, or what is live currently, about a $50 fee if you love your animals for warehousing fees.
Okay.
We can't help it. We don't care about the fee, but we have to put it in there. And guess what? If you don't pay it, your live animal is going to be sitting in a fucking disgusting warehouse for days until it dies, until you pay it. So don't be a dick.
All right.
Just realize Paul lives the passports, please. Passport, please. Papers, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that sounds like part of your living day is just, no, you need this extra paperwork here. You need this fee. Gross.
I think your call's cutting out a little bit, unless you muted your mic.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, hey. How you doing?
Good.
we were making fun of pet owners for a bit, just because now we're not, so we're allowed to do that.
Oh.
We're cynical, judgmental people. But no, that's fine.
You love Vinny. Don't even start with that.
Yeah. Okay. Man. So okay, people get angry about the rate of stuff and shipping fees and whatever.
I mean, the thing is, I don't think that even happens in retail, where it's like somebody doesn't come up to you. If you're a cashier in Walmart, somebody doesn't come up to you with like,
after they've bought something,
with like a stick of deodorant and say, "Why is this $6?" They just know, right? Like,
well, it's on there. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, it's like there's a weird perception, like, this should be a flexible thing. Like, this is a barter system, right? And you're just like, well, no, not really.
Yeah, this isn't a barter system. If you want your fucking dog that's so precious to you, you're going to pay this money, or else I'm going to ship it somewhere else, because I have that fucking power.
Stations, or do people come down there?
What's that?
In person or on the phone?
This is in person.
Okay.
So that's why, like, when we were talking earlier about PAX or whatever, and like how you're like, I can't be blunt with people, I've had to learn to be blunt with people because they're assholes.
Right.
Where it's just like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, sir, you didn't give me your paperwork. no, this. Sorry, you didn't give me your paperwork. And they start freaking out. It's like, I need to see some ID and your paperwork or get out. Like, seriously.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
there's a line forming. You're wasting my time.
That line is gone. Like,
Okay.
the line where it's just like, I want to be a decent human being or someone that gets shit done is gone. You're afraid to talk to indie people because I'd just be like, this game's not good.
Yeah. Okay.
The
I guess.
stupidest thing I've seen. One day, we had a package that was supposed to go to the Yukon or whatever, and we have to hand search everything. It said "Happy Birthday, Dad," and it was fully wrapped. So we cut it open, and I found 6 to 8 vials of hash oil in it, and I thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen because it's just like this box that says "Happy Birthday, Dad" and like a gift card and all that stuff, and then there's just a bunch of vials of like drugs in there. It's great.
Oh, okay. So it was trying to kind of like ward you off from it with
Yeah.
sediment,
Sentiment doesn't happen when you're in a cargo business.
right? What's wrong with the? I mean, I don't want to get too specific and get you in trouble or something, but what's wrong with the warehouse staff? Like, what are they doing wrong?
Oh, just the people. I mean, it's the same with any other workplace. People are dicks, and it's like I will learn stuff to help other people out, but they won't help me out if I want a day off. So fuck them. They're just
Okay.
dicks. I mean, people are just dicks everywhere.
Dicks everywhere. Got it.
Dicks everywhere, exactly.
Ah, jokes. Ah,
And now for another drink.
okay. That sucks. So just work, like just work wearing you down, like is the primary thing going on.
What's that?
Like just work stress, like just work problems.
Yeah,
It's been the primary thing.
and like my supervisor's mother died recently, so she's been gone. I don't know. I just get this feeling that a lot of people are dying.
This year's been fucked for that.
It's
Yeah.
been bad. So
Like July was the weirdest
well, I
month.
mean, we can't get into some more personal stuff, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just.
it's been a weird year for that. So like this just kind of added on to that, and
Like I guess like that was the thing too. Like I don't know. Like Ryan Davis's absence at PAX was definitely felt during some panels and stuff. You know, like some specifically talking about him, but then other ones where it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Some of the magic's gone. I'm not sure I'm getting too dramatic about it, but it's not as fun. You still there? Did it freeze again?
no, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like even listening to the podcast now, I mean, I love Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
I still think like Ryan was the best host they ever had or could hope for.
Yeah. So it's kind of like rough coming back from that because you're just like, you know, there's no replacement. You can't just
You cannot replace Ryan Davis.
no.
Like you can't replace Jeff either. To be fair,
Mm-hmm.
I-
But they're a good dynamic, right?
I kind of
So-
don't think you can replace Vinny either.
Yeah.
I think you can replace everybody else in a way.
Mm.
It wouldn't be the same still without like
Yeah.
Brad and like sometimes Patrick and like even Drew has brought a kind of weird new feeling to the podcast where it's just like, oh, there's going to be a segment now where we talk about like simulation driving games and stuff, which is totally fine because
Like
that dude gets super excited about it and he's actually genuinely kind of funny with some of the stuff he says.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, like I just miss the hey everyone's Tuesday sort of thing and just like him disagreeing with people and just being like, no, you're a fucking idiot and all that sort of stuff.
No, I've been listening to old bombcasts, and they certainly have a energy to them that you just don't get anymore.
I can't imagine being Jeff and like this your best friend that you've known forever basically and driving in with them for like an hour at least every day to work and then back home. Just that silence in the car on the way back in would just be enough to make me not want to come to work anymore, I don't think.
I don't know. He seemed pretty upbeat at the panel and stuff. Like he's keeping it going, but
well, he has to. I mean, if we're going to get down to it, they are getting paid to do that.
yeah,
So like, no matter what, they have to put the show on, right?
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. There still seems to be genuine enjoyment in a lot of what they're still doing.
Well, dude, they're
But,
talking about video games for money, and they're fucking around with
yeah,
their friends. Like, how can you
yeah,
not
I know.
enjoy it?
It's not like it's the toughest gig, but
It's not like working in an international warehouse for airlines, I'll tell you that.
yeah, I've heard that's really bad.
It's pretty shitty.
I was thinking about it too, but oh, I'm
We
just
have
gonna-
been looking for somebody.
I'm good.
Yeah. I cannot recommend highly or anything other than like against doing that. And the only reason I still do it is because I've been doing it for years and I just know how to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't know. No questions this week, I guess. So
Okay.
we should
Thanks
wrap up.
for this wacky video cast. I'm kind of going for like an Abe Lincoln beard with this,
It's
and the
pretty
hat
good.
as close as I could get, So
Hmm.
that was the motif behind this outfit this time. So yeah, wacky outfits. That's what we're doing. For those that aren't watching, totally elaborate costumes that we came up with. Pretty cool. So check it out Monday nights. And yeah.
Okay, I got one question from Erin in the background right now.
Oh, okay.
How drunk are both of you? She asks.
I'm not very. I had wine a couple hours ago and a little
From a
vodka.
scale of 1 to 10, she clarifies.
Like a 2.
Okay, I'm probably 6 or 7.
Whoa. Okay. So you went hard, like harder anyway than I did this week. So congratulations, you win.
I win.
Dog pirate.
Dog
Wasn't it?
pirate, that's right. To
Yeah.
anybody listening to just the audio, they won't understand any of this.
He's dressed as a dog pirate.
But
You should've
anyways, you should know, because you should have been here. I guess this was Sunday, so we did it a bit early, so I apologize. But twitch.tv/exposure, EXFAUXSURE
been- Mhm.
is where we do this. I don't know if that'll change, maybe eventually. Whatever. I don't fucking know. You want to reach us on Twitter, same thing, exposure, EXFAUXSURE on Twitter, and Krasnor, KRAZNORE, not E, just
There's
R.
no E.
No
Just
E.
regular-
There should be
Regular
an E.
Krasnor. Krasnor, like snore. Oh, you
Krasnor.
wanna... Wait. Go. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, the hat transfer.
Successfully Hat swap.
Exactly.
I got it back. All right. Anyway. Thanks
Anyways,
for doing that. Bye. Well, wait.
I'm
what,
just
is
going
there
to
more?
quickly say, for joining us this week, thank you at Terraf, Black Tea, China Cup, Flyzer97, Foxy the Kid, Let's Play Max, Mr. Marshmallow, Victor the Penguin, and Secondhand Sarcasm, with a few that had to go a little bit earlier. So thank you very much for joining us. If you want to be on that list, join us Monday nights, usually at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure what's going on. Just follow us on Twitter. And
6 kids.
you can see what the hell Nathan's doing right now. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
You might be able to see it anyways, because this might go on YouTube. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I got a sick mohawk. It's the shittiest mohawk.
It's the shittiest
They
mohawk.
really fucked up with this.